Coming up on this episode of The Brain Drain Show.
And then the dude was trying 540s, paddless 540s. Tried one and he landed on his neck on the coping. This is the most amazing skateboarder I've ever seen live. And it was John Cardiel. And it wasn't filming to have footage. It was filming so we could make video sequences for our zine. And I sent it to 4-in-1. So I've sent him to like 24 tapes. So I call and Josh Freeberg picks up. I was like, hey, my name's Anthony, and I'm from New York, and I sent some tapes in. I filmed some stuff, sent some tapes. Quim Cardona, Nollie Inward Heel over the Brooklyn Banks wall. Like, did you see that? He's like, yeah, that was super, super cool. It's gonna be an opener. All the guys I'm filming with, they're asking me what I'm filming for. Would it be cool to say that I'm filming for 4-in-1, like to give you guys stuff? And I remember Josh being like, yeah, man, you tell me you film for 4-in-1, like you can say whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's cool. At the beginning, when the VX was phasing out, everyone hated the Century and that level of HD. People were talking a lot of shit. That was the worst selling 4-in-1 ever. Because it came right after the BAM issue, which was like the #1. And some of the very best skateboarders are dysfunctional people. Some guys they know what they want to do, just take them to the fucking spot, shut up, turn on the camera, and be where they want you to film from. Some people have no idea what trick they want to do. They don't know what spot they want to go to. He kickflipped front board of the rail. He rode away, got to his car, opened the trunk, put his board in the car, closed the trunk, and drove away. Filming with Gershon was insane. He never stopped skating, would do the hardest tricks. He would skate for hours. Then he would film a homie. He wanted to Switch Smith grind Hubba Hideout before Costin did it. Mark Appleyard was the best skater. The company he rode for, that video was for, is gone. The distribution is gone. I went to Bristol, stayed at Danny's for a month, stayed on his couch. He was super productive, and we filmed that whole part in like a 2 or 3 week period, all around Bristol. We want to make a full-length LRG video. And I was like, wow, man, good luck with that. I wasn't an editor yet. I didn't feel like I could really do it, and I knew I needed to do it with somebody. And my first choice was McGee. Frank and Adelmo looked like they could be brothers. He didn't want the video to be called Me My Money Chico. He's like, that's kind of crazy. Like, I love cross-shipment skating. And one of the kids had a hoodie over his arms and had a gun at Frank's ribs. Phones and wallets on the floor now. Everything in your pockets on the floor now.
Good evening and welcome to another great episode of The Brain Drain Show with me, Ford Brookfield. Joined to my left is my one and only true love co-host, Toby Batchelor. And Toby, we got a big studio audience here today, but
biggest audience
we've had. But joined to your left is...
It's Mr. Anthony Claravall.
Round of applause in the studio, please, for Mr. Anthony Claravall here. He's came all the way here just for this episode.
So, thanks for coming, first of all.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So you flew in yesterday from the Philippines.
From Thailand.
Yeah. And then I heard you talking to Warren outside saying Croatia tomorrow.
Yeah, Croatia tomorrow for like 4 days, then Barcelona 10 days, 2 weeks in Brazil, Tampa Am.
Yeah.
Beautiful Tampa, Florida. New York, SF, and then back to Asia. So that's the what's coming up next.
And is that all filming?
Yeah, pretty much. So Croatia is Vladimir Film Festival.
Yeah.
We're doing we're premiering a video there. And then, just attending that and just checking it out. I heard it's amazing, my first time. Barcelona is a 10-day filming trip. Brazil is a 2-week filming trip. Tampa for the contest. Trying to make the finals this year. And then New York is to chill for a couple of days. SF is filming, and then back to Asia for more filming.
Fucking hell, busy then. Yeah. Real busy.
Do you need a personal assistant by any chance?
I do.
Because
I do.
Can you please take him?
Yeah.
I need a personal.
I'll do Brain Drain on the road. We'll do that at the same time.
Who's
Not
in on the
quite as glamorous as it sounds, though.
Who's in on the filming mission in Barcelona? Who are you going?
So there's a skater, Nika Washington.
Yeah.
She's from Phoenix, and she's amazing. She had a part on Thunder a couple years ago. Amazing part, and I've always really wanted to film with her. I was talking to her briefly, just on Instagram, and she mentioned something. I was like, let's get you on a trip. Let's try to do something. And she's like, I'm super, super down. I reached out to Adidas through Jesse Van Rookout and then Shire, like really good old friends of mine. And there's some travel budget, and I was like, let's do a trip. And
Nice.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. So hopefully it's the start of a part. I mean, what better place than Barcelona? And she's never been. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. Should we go back into the traditional starting of the questions?
Just But yeah, let's take it back to the beginning, how we always do.
Where are you from originally?
Born and raised in New York City. Kind of a tricky question. My dad worked for Pepsi as a kid, and we were stationed around the world. Mexico City as a young kid, London, Malaysia. Yeah.
Traveling from an early age has always been a part of what you used to then, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I was pretty much, like traveling since I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With your dad working for Pepsi, were you a Coca-Cola fan, or was it like...
No, I mean, strangely enough, like
no Coca-Cola allowed in this house.
No, we weren't allowed to drink any soft drinks, any soda, right? So my mom thought it was really bad. So
It is.
as a kid, yeah, it is. But as a kid, like you want it.
Yeah, of course.
obviously,
If they say you can't have it, you want it even more, don't you?
Yeah. So I mean, I was we were denied it. We couldn't. We
Denied
had to
the
drink
Pepsi.
water. I had to drink a glass of milk every morning. That was like a thing with my.
I bet when you used to sneak out the house, it wasn't like booze and cigarettes. It was like, oh, let's go get a Pepsi or a Coke from the shop.
To be honest, it was iced tea.
Fucking love iced tea.
Iced tea was like the shit.
Barcelona's got great iced tea as well.
Yes.
Those Nestor iced teas.
Yeah.
Incredible. I think I drank so much of that once when I was out there for a couple of months. I started getting real bad nightmares because that's all I drank was that iced tea.
What, is it known to give you nightmares?
It fucking did me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just prone to it.
It's a side effect.
But strangely enough, like it was Pepsi as a kid, and I never really drank Coke. But now I drink a lot of Coke Zero, and I tried to drink Pepsi the other day, and I was like, it's so weird, So
yeah, I think it's one of those things.
It's like a watered down version. I can't get to grips with it.
No.
With Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola number one. That's it.
Well, let's not give them any more coverage on this podcast. Thank you.
Traveling around a lot as a kid. When did you first discover skating and get involved in it? Or
wow, man, I remember being in New York and seeing kids like vividly. I was in a car. We drove by a spot, and I looked over, and there was kids skating a set of stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably like 14, maybe, and I remember thinking, man, that's the coolest thing.
The magic moment when you first saw it in it.
Well, I mean, just where you saw something and you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I moved schools like right after that, and at that school, I met a good friend of mine. Later became like one of my best friends, and he skated. So I started skating with him, and this is probably, I want to say, 1986, 1886, and this is like, I got into skateboarding, and like Animal Chin was like a huge video, and Bones Brigade video show, and these are the videos that like I saw like right when I first started skating. And then like Wheels on Fire, Streets on Fire, Nodis was my favorite skater, right? Lance Mountain was my friend's favorite skater. Years later, I became friends with Lance and worked for the firm.
It's a fucking dream come
Yeah,
true.
it's
Lance
insane.
just seems like the best.
The best dude. The kind of pro skater that was like had a persona and was like, you read in the magazines, you saw in a magazine, you watch videos, and then when you meet the guy, it's like, this is exactly that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a huge like had a huge effect on me and in my career, let's say, as a videographer. But so yeah, that's when I started skating, and then my dad moved to Malaysia. So his job moved him to Malaysia. I moved from New York to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and then obviously like as extremely different from New York as possible.
Yeah.
But there was a skate scene at my school, and I started skating, and it was a smaller scene and a wholly different environment, but it was amazing for skateboarding too.
Were you coming back and forth from Kuala Lumpur to New York? Or?
Yeah, so like when your family works for companies like that, or where you have a company like that, you would get the home leave every year. So for home leave, they would pay for like during school holidays, you'd go back to your home. So New York was home, so we got to go back every year, in the summertime. And sometimes it'd be cool. We were in Malaysia. A flight would go through like London, let's say, like Malaysia, London to New York. So I would, get to do that. I actually skated South Bank in like 1990. I remember like last year of high school, graduated. We stopped. It was me and my mom, my sister, and we went from Malaysia to London for like 4 or 5 days, and then to New York. So
nice. And you mentioned earlier as well, you used to get hold of R.A.D Mag as well.
Yeah. So like living in Malaysia, and then also later on I lived in Singapore. Those were both like British colonies.
Yeah.
And so like at the the news agents, they would have like British skate mags, not just, maybe even more British skate mags than like American ones. So they would always have R.A.D, and I would get to see them, and like, like I'd see like, dude, Tom Penny, Simon Evans, like those were the guys, like late 80s, early 90s. So those were the guys who were like, in those magazines. And so I kind of had a doorway into like the English scene, that a lot of other American skateboarders never saw. You know what I mean? So like Tim Layton Boy's photos, R.A.D magazine was like hugely influential to me.
We'd love to sit down and talk to TLB, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
about that
yeah,
era
we've spoken
of
to him a few
skateboarding,
times.
because he was like the dude. He was like the photographer.
Yeah.
I still
Crazy.
see photos popping up in like Facebook groups and on Instagram of shots he's taken that I've never seen before. And like he must have taken so many pics. I'd love to go through the archives on that one.
Well, I mean, also like in retrospect, because some of these guys became like iconic like American skaters. You know what I mean? Like, so, fuck, dude. I mean, Simon Evans was somebody who I skated with in SF. So he moved to SF. Like through FTC, I would skate with him, a little bit and everything. And he tried to make it there, and then he got into art. And so that was like something where it's like I already knew who he was, and I'd seen him skate, and in magazines and everything, and a lot of people didn't know who he was, and he's one of the most amazing skateboarders to come out of the UK. People like, I mean, the list goes on. There's a lot of like big English skaters at the time who came to SF to the United States. Jagger was one of them. There's a lot of guys, that I was lucky enough to meet in America, but I had already known who they were.
Did Curtis McCann ever go out to
SF? So strangely enough, on that trip, when I was in high school, like last year of high school, went from Malaysia to London, I skated with Curtis at South Bank, and skated with him. Was kind of tripping because I'd seen him in Powell videos. And we met up at South Bank. We skated around like the whole day. It was amazing. Ended up at like a mini ramp, outdoor mini ramp, crazily. Like I couldn't even, like, hard to even understand or remember. What like.
Was it like maybe it was the Uxbridge mini ramp? That was kind of the main ramp around London at that point.
Maybe I couldn't tell you. It was just like, it was a crazy day. Just like some certain things like stand out. Like at that time, like if you go to the shoe store or like the shoe repair place, there would be like these little metal plates that women would put on their high heels, like a small plate that would go on like the end of a high heel. And Curtis had a few of those on the tail of his board to like kind of save the tail, and like it would hit that. It was kind of like I don't know, like kind of a like a tail guard, you know what I mean? But it still had good pop because it was like metal. You know what I mean? But I was almost tripping too, because I was like, this kid's like sponsored. He gets free boards, and he's still trying to make the boards last. So that was like a huge like day for me. We went to I think we went to Meanwhile. We were at South Bank. We skated around London, whatever. And then maybe like a year later, he was in New York skating for Underworld. So at the time he skated for Underworld, and like Harold, Jeff Pang, Ricky Becerra. These guys all skated for Underworld, and then and I skated with him in New York, and it was crazy. But he was like, even in that year or so, or year and a half, he kind of had grown up, and seemed like kind of a different person. You know what I mean? And I think he was more stoked to be in New York, just to be in New York, and to be out, and to go out and stuff, and not really just skate. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Like, what was the change from it being Underworld Element to Element? Was it a change in owner direction? Well, I mean, I didn't know what it was.
I mean, so for me, Element, like Underworld Element, was like
it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was amazing. It wasn't even good, but I mean, it was Andy Howell. It was super, like, I'm from New York, so it was hip hop. It was, I mean, Julian Stranger, favorite skater. You know what I mean? Skating to like Greg Nice, like insane. Harold, somebody who I skated with, who I saw, Rick Ibiceta, like as a Filipino American, and as a skateboarder, like the best style, you meet the guy, the best person, you know what I mean? Jeff Pang, one of the greatest, like the whole, thing, Andy Howell as a skateboarder, switch skating, transition, everything, the brand was insane. You know what I mean? Like it was like hip hop, Sky Pager. You know what I mean? It like for me, Underworld Element was one of the best brands ever. You know, skateboarding is generational. Your audience or your fan base grows up or whatever. Element skateboards and under Johnny Shillareff, you know, was a different thing and hugely successful. You know, but I was already working in skateboarding, filming professionally. I worked for 4-in-1. 4-in-1 was was under Giant Distribution. Element was part of Giant. It was a whole family. It was like, you know, it was like the same company I worked for. So it wasn't like, you know, for Element, I was like, you know, a kid and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, that's sick. Where Element Skateboards was a brand that was out of the same building as the company I worked for. It was different, you know.
I was going to ask what was the timeline there from moving to when you started picking up filming, and who was you filming, and how did that lead on to contributing to someone's projects and then getting a job as a filmer? What was, because that's a big timeline there.
Yeah. So I mean, real simple, I guess. I went to high school in Malaysia, right? Graduated high school, went back to the States. I did like a year community college in Connecticut, at University of Connecticut. But I just kind of fucked off. I didn't really do anything. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's like, all I want to do is skate. You know, I'm in school and it's like, you know, I'm like, why am I here? But basically my dad moved from Malaysia, and he was still in Malaysia. And through my dad, if I went to school near him, then they would pay for it. Right. So basically there was a American college in Singapore. And if I went to American College in Singapore, then my dad's company would pay for it. So I went to school in Singapore, obviously. Right. But it was kind of the same thing. It was an amazing year. Basically all I did was skate, you know, fucked off school, you know, but I was actively not really caring. You know what I mean? I was like at that point
doing
in
the
my
bare
life.
minimum.
Yeah. And so the crew that I had, like, we started filming a video, and one of the guys in the crew, his dad had a video camera, so it was all that. It was like, you know, camera would go around, we'd all film each other. I wasn't the best person in the crew, and
usually the filmer's motto.
Well, dude, but like, and my favorite stuff to skate was manuals, and so it was always like I wanted to skate a manual pad. I'd skate, like, you know, I get like 3 or 4 tries, and then like my friends would be like bored filming and they didn't want to film anymore. And then I remember being so pissed. I was like, fuck, dude, like if somebody wants to film, like, and I'm filming, I'm going to take, you know, let them take as much time as they want. I'm going to be, yeah, because like I felt like I couldn't get it, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to skate a manual pad, and they were just like, you know, they wanted to skate stairs or something that was like faster. Right. So that was kind of the genesis of it. We made some videos. And then when I moved back to the States, my best friend from high school, his name was Jürgen. We did a zine, and the zine was skateboarding and hardcore music. So I've been into hardcore. Like Jürgen and I, we've been like straight edge since we were kids. I've been straight edge since I was a kid, and that's, you know, like straight edge hardcore and, you know, and skateboarding at the time were really intertwined. You know what I mean?
Like New York hardcore at that time as well is like some of the best hardcore. I love it. Yeah.
So like when I was a kid, the scene was like Youth of Today was like my favorite band. They were huge, but there were so many, you know, straight edge bands like, you know, Bold, Gorilla Biscuits, you know, Side by Side, a lot of different bands in that scene. So like, you know, I've been straight edge since I was like 15, started skateboarding probably the same time. You know, still skate. I never drank a beer in my whole life. So like I've kind of stuck with those things, and those two things were really important to me. And we did a zine, and the zine was called Action Figure, and it was skateboarding and hardcore. And right when we started, there was like these 3 seminal contests in the East Coast. There was a Brooklyn Banks contest, one at Bricktown Skate Park in New Jersey, and one at the Playground in Connecticut. Like 3 weekends, and there was 3 contests. And it was the first time that me and my friends had seen like professional skateboarders come. And I mean, it was like super like iconic, right? Like there was at the Playground contest was the first one. I remember seeing a guy. There was a huge pyramid at the skate park, and we would skate there quite a bit. Like, and quite a bit means like maybe twice in the winter or 3 times, right? Because it was kind of far, and it was expensive, and you'd have to get somebody to drive. It was like a big deal. But there was a huge pyramid, and I remember like we would skate it like do a trick up to the top of the pyramid. You could even do a flat ground trick on the pyramid, and then you could do a trick into the other side. It was a huge pyramid, gigantic. And I went to the playground contest, and I seen this dude, and this dude had a green shirt, and he was flying, and he was trying to heel flip the entire pyramid. And I was tripping, dude. I was like, I'd never seen anyone skate the entire pyramid.
Who is it?
And so it's just I didn't know. It was a guy with a green shirt. It was insane, right?
Green shirt guy.
And green shirt guy. And then then there's a vert ramp there, and then there's a vert contest. So it was like street contest. People are practicing skating, and then you go to the vert ramp, which is like fucking 20 feet away. And then the dude was trying 540s, paddless 540s, and we used to skate the vert ramp as like skate the flat bottom with a drop. You know what I mean? Like that's how we skated the vert ramp. So he's trying 540s. Dude, one time he tried one and he landed on his neck on the coping. It was insane. I was like, this is the most amazing skateboarder I've ever seen live. And it was John Cardiel. And so that footage.
That figures.
Yeah. So that, I mean, so for me, that was like a crazy moment. So, we did a zine. I interviewed like some people, and dude, Eric Costin was there. Like I said, Cardiel, Danny Way, Sean Sheffy, like heavy hitters, like the best skaters. And then it was a crazy experience because at that contest, the playground contest, then we went to the next weekend. There was a contest in New Jersey, and then there was another contest at the Brooklyn Banks. And that was probably like that was a crazy experience for me. To see that level of skateboarding. And so many crazy things happened. Like at the Brooklyn Banks contest, Costin did back heel, I think, over the wall at the Brooklyn Banks. Danny Way nose slid the handrail at the Banks. That was like in virtual reality.
He rides away with a snap tail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was super crazy. I was right there. You know what I mean? And it was cool because like I, we got all this footage, and then and then like I got to see this caliber of skateboarding live. And
that was like the turning point of being like, I'm gonna film this.
It was, but it wasn't. It was very much just like pointing the camera and filming, and then like my friend who I was with, like he would do too. It wasn't like, oh, I'm filming or whatever. It was like, and it wasn't filming to have footage. It was filming so we could make video sequences for our zine.
Yeah,
because I didn't know how to take photos. Yeah, so we weren't filming to have footage. I was filming so I could go in the computer lab at his school and break it down into video sequences for our
filming
zine.
For sequence.
Yeah, so it was really crazy.
What was the camera you were using then?
Dude, we had my sister's boyfriend had a Sony Handycam,
right?
Like a
8mm.
Yeah, like maybe it was like the tapes then were 8mm, right? So it was like 8mm, then 8mm, then Super 8, I think, or High 8. Yeah, and
I
then
think
DV.
It was known as High 8 in Europe, but Super 8
maybe
in the US.
So it was like the lesser. So it was 8mm cassettes, and so it was my sister's boyfriend had the camera, and I borrowed it, and at that time there was like it was totally fine. It was like whatever, but it wasn't even my own camera. But yeah, that's what we had, and I remember I wanted to shoot photos. I wanted to, the dream was like, oh, you shoot photos and send it to Thrasher or something. But, photography was like just insane. Like I, didn't understand, aperture.
And super expensive
everything.
When you shoot.
Yeah. And then everything was film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely, video was the easier thing. And then coincidentally around that same time, 4-in-1 started. And at the end of 4-in-1, the first issue of 4-in-1, there was like a screen, and it's like, hey, if you have any footage, you could send it, you can contribute, you could send it to this address, like whatever. And that was a huge thing because at that point, videos were from a brand, videos were just a team, and 4-in-1 was the first time it was like
open doors.
Yeah, it was like an open door. They were trying to like have coverage from all over the world. They were trying to have skaters from all different brands. It was it was once every 2 months. So it was they were covering contests and things like that. It was a really, really different thing. And so I was like, fuck, okay, maybe I should film and send stuff to 4-in-1. That was like an idea, like something that could be done. So this is a long story.
No, we're here for it. We're here
Take
for
as
it.
much time.
So I knew at that point it was, everyone was just a skater, a lot of skaters, and like maybe you want to do a zine, and that was like kind of like that was the only creative outlet, right? Nobody could see a pathway to like work for a magazine based in California. That was insane, So like the creative outlet or the final thing you could do was make a zine. So me and my friend, we made a zine, but I had met this guy named Jeremy Traub, and Jeremy was a photographer based in Boston, and he had shot for like Thrasher and Transworld. He had photos in there. I knew Jeremy a little bit, and I remember calling him up and asking him some advice, and he was like, like the best dude. He was, super, super open. He's like, yeah, you should try to look for a camera that has optical stabilization, not digital stabilization. The image is going to be better. Try to do this, try to shoot as on manual as much as you can, things like, like really, really good pieces of advice. He's like, when you get your footage together, send it to 4-in-1. They're probably really busy. These are the guys to talk to, Chris Ortiz, Josh Friedberg. If you call them, try to call them, try to hit them up. If you don't hear anything back, it's just because they're busy. Keep trying until you get somebody on the phone. Like, amazing pieces of advice that I followed kind of to the letter.
Yeah.
So I got a new camera. My girlfriend at the time worked at a camera store, and she got me a deal on like a couple boxes of mini DV tapes, or 8mm actually at the time. And so I got tapes, and I was filming, like I filmed one summer in New York, like nonstop. Like I worked at Blockbuster Video, and basically worked and went out and tried to film.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was filming kind of every day. I at the end of the summer, I probably had like 24 tapes. I knew enough that you took the tapes and you wrote down, all the tricks. You wrote down like what was on there, like from 12 minutes and 32 seconds to 38 seconds. There's this trick. So I wrote everything down, and I sent it to 4-in-1. So I've sent them to like 24 tapes.
Because that's only just clicked that, like, yeah, you would have sent the full tape, because you couldn't have just cut it and sent it through email.
Yeah, there was no computer. It was just the camera and the tape.
Did you ever get the tapes back?
I guess I can get into that after.
Yeah.
But so
I'm too excited with these 411 questions.
So I remember that was my mission for the summer, right? Filmed all these tapes, filmed all this stuff, sent it to 4-in-1, and the same thing happened. Like I was like, okay, fuck, okay, it's like I don't know, August 3rd, So I was like, I'll wait till like August 10th, like it's got to have been there by August 10th, right? So August 10th comes around, and like like call up, the number, like no reply, like nobody answers, whatever. 3 hours difference, New York to California. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what time is the best time to call. Should I call like 9 a.m? There's no answer. Okay, fuck, no, things like that. So I go to work, come back. Okay, I'm gonna call California. It's still like, like one time I came back, it was like I stopped. I got off work. It was late. New York is 3 hours ahead of California. And I was like, fuck, it was probably like 9 or 10 p.m. in California. It was like 1 a.m. in New York. I'm like, I'm going to try calling these guys because maybe there's somebody there, So I call, and Josh Friedberg picks up, And I was like, hey, my name's Anthony, and I'm from New York, and I had sent some tapes in. I'd filmed some stuff, sent some tapes, and Josh was like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, I think we got the box, yeah, we saw the tapes, like kind of trying to get off the phone, like maybe thought it was somebody else picked up the phone. It's like maybe they never pick up the phone, right? And I was like, yeah, I just wanted to know if you guys saw any of this stuff, and he's like, yeah, man, it was cool, man. Like, yeah, this, keep sending stuff, yeah, keep sending some stuff. I think, we're working on the new issue right now. Right. And I was like, cool. I was like, did you see this trick? I filmed this trick, like something I was really psyched on. And he was like, oh yeah, that was cool. But it's really dark. It was really dark, And I was like, okay, fuck. And I was like, well, what about this other trick? And like, did you see this? And like, they're like, oh, it was a good trick, but the filming was a little bit shaky, And I was like, fuck, dude. I'm like, all right. I'm like, and then like, well, what about Quim Cardona, nollie inward heel over the Brooklyn Banks wall? Like, did you see that? And he's like, yeah, that was super, super cool. It's gonna be an opener.
Oh wow.
Shit.
Yeah, and I was just
Quim
like,
Cardona as well. He's so sick.
So
I love that guy.
How did you react to that?
No, first I'm like, just like trying to like, talk to somebody and just say like, hey, like voice from like the wilderness, like, did you get it? Did you get the clips? the tapes, and then, you know, like, oh shit, like that trick was too dark, that trick was too shaky. So then I was kind of like, fuck, man, like maybe there's nothing good on there. And then to hear that one of the tricks was going to be an opener, which at the time was like the best trick you could have, was insane, you know. So basically, you know, I was like kind of shocked. But then I remember blurting out, I was like, hey, you know, I'm here and I'm filming, like trying to film every day. And like all my friends, all the guys I'm filming with, they're asking me what I'm filming for. And I'm saying, like, you know, I'm filming to send stuff to 4-in-1. Would it be cool to say that I'm filming for 4-in-1, like to give you guys stuff? And I remember Josh being like, yeah, man, you tell me you film for 4-in-1, like you can say whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's cool. Kind of like trying to get me off the phone. You know what I mean? But at the time it was insane because you know, it was like a validation and it was like a cosign, and that was kind of the first time I kind of felt like, well, maybe I can kind of do this. Yeah. And then it became like a crazy, that was my focus. Yeah. Filming, skateboarding.
Just hearing that on the phone from that one clip.
Yeah, that's unreal.
That's such a difference, because it could have been like every clip you could have been like, no, man, it was a bit, and you could have just been a bit disheartened about it. But having that one. And an opener as well was like the video magazine cover, isn't it? You know, it's like
So what issue was that? And do you remember getting that copy and seeing it for the first time and just being like,
yeah, I mean, I think it was 4-in-1 issue 8.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was issue 8 or 10. You know, but
there's an issue 10 and possibly an issue 8 behind you.
Wow.
I think that's in issue 8, 10, and 13. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, well, this is 10 for sure.
And then that one to the left.
So I think it was issue 8. So, but I think I do have stuff in issue 10 too.
What's the issue next to issue 10?
This is in issue 8 actually.
Is that in issue 8?
Wow.
Get the VHS player out.
And who's in that one?
Well, this is crazy.
Quim Cardona doing knowledge.
I used to love the rookies and stuff. I used to collect them for like the rookies and Julio rookies and stuff like that.
Well, this one is crazy because the back cover is Visalia Skate Camp, where I ended up working. Maybe the year after that, Dave Meddy, who ran the camp, invited me to be like the videographer, and so that was also a really crazy thing for me. That, like, you know, in a career, right? And Ray Barbie, a good homie, and Idol, right?
Yeah.
And then there was like a girl chocolate firm trip. Which is like also a seminal thing. They went to the East Coast, and it was a firm and girl chocolate together, you know. So yeah, there's like a lot of crazy things in here that I didn't film, but were like, you know, I was like still like obviously a fan, you know what I mean, at this point too. Yeah. So yeah, issue 8 and then issue 10. So the first stuff I had in 4-in-1 was actually in a Zoo York Industry in issue 6, I think, a few clips. And then
that one as well.
And then the first proper stuff was probably this issue right here. Crazy.
I knew that there was a reason deep down in my heart why I kept that, and it was all leading to this.
That's insane.
That video right there has got me a personal assistant job around the world. Look at that.
There you go, man.
So you got off the phone from Josh, and then you were like telling everyone I'm filming for 4-in-1 because he'd been like, yeah, do that.
Yeah, I mean, so it was like,
I guess that kind of lit the fire even more, right? And you were just like,
yeah, it was insane.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
That's rad. Still filming on the high 8. Do you remember what fisheye I had then?
Dude, I had whatever fisheye, like, you know, there was no fisheye. There was no standard fisheye, and there was no standard. It wasn't even like, okay, this is the one to look for. You know, there wasn't even like an object of desire to like try to get.
Yeah.
It was, you would just go to like camera stores and be like, oh, fisheye, there's this. It's like, you know, like
screw on.
Yeah, screw on, and like, okay, would it fit? Oh, it wouldn't fit, but maybe we get a ring.
The step
and
up
then
rings.
It was like the only thing you knew was like, okay, turn. There was a stabilization on the camera, so turn the stabilization off if you use a fisheye.
Mhm.
If not, you're gonna get like a bouncing circle. But yeah, there was like, you know, everything was different. You know, people had like, I remember at the same time, Dan Wolf was filming, and Dan Wolf was filming on a Canon, you know, 3CCD camera. Like it was like way pro.
The XL1?
Yeah, maybe. Or
it would have been the GL one in America, but it was the XM
no,
one.
But I believe it was even before that. To be honest, yeah, I think it was before that. Yeah, and it was the camera that he probably filmed like Eastern Exposure with, which is like a huge influence, to me.
Incredible.
So,
It kind of was
you
for
know.
us over here as well, because it was a lot more relatable to
Yeah.
what we'd seen before.
Well, it's just such
And it
real
was
street,
so
isn't it?
good.
It's like
Yeah.
so
Such a good video.
gritty.
Which strangely enough, right? So like that's what we were all street skaters,
Mm.
and that's what we wanted to film, and that's what he excelled at, and that's what was like the most amazing part about Eastern Exposure. But if you talk about the scene, the only way that we saw each other was at contests or events. So like I remember going to like Newburgh. There was a skate contest in Newburgh, New York, which is like at least 2 hours plus outside of New York City. And we go there and like Dan Wolf is there. So then I got to see, oh, that's the camera that he's using, because
Yeah.
I got to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have this camera, and I'm like, Dan was there, and then there was like a bunch of Philly kids. So it was like, there's like Ricky and like, Stevie, and then there's a bunch of New York dudes, and there was even like some pros like Willie Santos, I think each actually maybe won the contest, or Jesse Paez came. So there was like a crazy mix. And so it was like 90% of the time we're in the street. But the one time when there was anything community or anything you would see other people would be like at a contest or a skate jam. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was, I remember like, okay, Dan Wolf was like on another level, filming and editing and with equipment.
Yeah, because am I right in thinking he was the first person to get the Century Optics fisheye, wasn't he? Or
yes.
one of the first. He went into the store, didn't he?
The first person I ever saw, this first footage I ever saw was an Element ad, was Jeremy Ray front 360 Ollie, Santa Monica triple set.
That's right.
And that was filmed by Dan with that Century.
And that everyone was like, "What is?" this
It was
lens?
like that was like a seismic shift in skateboarding. It was insane.
I mean, we talk about it quite a lot, like just that camera, the VX1 with the Mark 1.
Yeah.
There was something about that, it's
Insane.
it just looked so good. And it meant that you didn't have to be in California. You could make your footage look like it was, filmed on the same cameras. But
I think that also the really important thing to remember is that it was all those things. It was the camera, it was the lens, whatever. But it was also like 4:3 aspect ratio, like was, I think, is the aspect like skateboarding and the human body
ratio.
Yeah, will ledges look better, you look closer, all the things, not to say that 16:9 doesn't look good and people can't do it. There's amazing filmers that do. But I mean, even now, the last part, I just put out a video part like 2 weeks ago, and that was 4:3 because I really felt like that's how I want to show skateboarding. You know what I mean?
We'll just nerd off a bit on that because that's quite interesting. So what are you filming on now?
Right now I've been filming on Lumix GH series cameras for a long time.
Yes.
So actually I was helping out a little bit for Pretty Sweet at the very beginning. So it was like kind of like supposed to be a chocolate video, it turned into what Pretty Sweet was. But Ty Evans was like, hey, you should get a GH2. That's for what you're trying to do, what you want to film, like that's the best camera to get.
Did you hack it? There was a phase, wasn't there? You could put the memory card in, you could hack the bit rate and stuff on the GH2.
Yeah. You could do. I mean, well, the crazy thing is that from the GH2, so then I've had pretty much every camera, GH2, now I have a GH7,
GH4, GH5. We've got a GH6 down there.
Yeah, so I now I'm on the GH7.
Yeah.
And so I really love those cameras, but also as an aside, I like to shoot photos, and it's an amazing camera for shooting photos too. So I can kind of do both.
Yeah.
But your question is it's I'm using Lumix GH series.
And then when you're setting that up, because you're shooting 4:3, so how are you doing that? Are you
me personally, I'm filming 16:9
and then
and then I'm just cropping.
Right. Okay. It's interesting.
All long lens.
Yeah.
Stuff. So I get to be able to punch in or pan and scan, with a larger image. I've thought about filming a lot of open gate stuff, but
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think open gate would be really great if you're filming and I might want to show it 9:16 for social media or whatever. But I do film 4K 16:9, and then I have a dedicated fisheye just for filming 4:3.
What fisheye is that?
You can see all the information in the comments later on. I can show it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, it's like I'm stuck with like, I'm filming something towards a project that's going to be 16:9 or whatever. It's not my own project, so then I'll change up what I do, but with long lens being being 4K 69, I can kind of do anything with that. You know what I mean? And I can crop it for 4:3 or whatever. Because that's the problem is a lot of times as you're filming things, you don't know where it's going to end up. So it could be social media, it could be for a brand. A lot of times I'm filming with somebody, they need to have something they're filming for a video or like a big video, whatever. But realistically, we'll film 10 clips and they'll only use like the 2 best ones. And then the other 8 can go somewhere else. And it's like, it's hard to, unless it's like your own project, it's really hard to understand how it's going to be it's going to look at the final product.
And how are you with long lens on the GH series with the zoom missing the old button zoom?
Yeah, so I mean, it goes both ways. To me, I love shooting prime lenses because they're usually faster, a lot faster, which means more light, and then they're really sharp. So my favorite prime lenses for the GH series are like tack sharp. They're insane. So it could be something like, okay, I know the main point of the trick, I want to have this much, and so I'll have maybe like it'll be a little bit wider in the run up or the landing, or the reality is you'll use 3 seconds of the clip. So with a prime, I can film it how I want to. I do use zooms also. Panasonic makes some cool zooms, and so I have like standard 24-70 and 70-200, where like I can film and like zoom in. It's not quite as fast as a Cradle VX, but you can still get that effect and that look. I don't like it as much because it's not as sharp. For me, like prime lenses are like razor sharp. But it's the thing. Sometimes you like, okay, this trick would be really good to be filmed like this, and then you can have those effects, so you can have that feeling by filming, after the clip and showing that, and it's not just like, but then maybe I want to have like an actual clip where like you're zooming in one take and you're zooming out and showing that, and then it begs the question. So like, what's next, right? So like we're
fish
filming,
eyes in your eyes.
Well, I mean, we're filming somebody do a trick, right? So we're filming somebody do a trick, and that's the important thing. And you can use a $10,000 camera, $100,000 camera, $1,000 iPhone. It's kind of the same, right? And you don't have to be a trained professional. You don't have to be a videographer. You're just filming it. And then the next step, what is it going to be? Is it going to be like, instead of grinding like Kevin Bacon or fucking Jamie Foy, and they're grinding like a fucking 20 stair, flat for 10 feet and then around the corner, maybe it's in the future people are going to want to like experience that, and then they're going to do the tricks and film themselves, like you said, VR. And so escape video is going to be you experiencing grinding a 40 stair handrail.
Do you get like the vibration pack? So you have a VR headset, a board that you put your feet on that's got like the vibra packs, like games consoles, and it's like, right, this is Jamie Foy's part in VR, and you sit there and it's like, even the slams you get like barged to the side or something, and you feel the vibrations.
Who knows where it's going to go? It's insane.
Going back to these lenses, check it out, because I'm really curious that I haven't seen anyone using them yet, because the quality on it looks insane. But there's micro four third mounts as well on all of them.
That's crazy. And then you said they're like 10K.
Some of them are, I mean, I've got an alert set up on eBay to see if anyone pop up.
So that's another thing, right? So if I have a GH7, right, a GH7, I spent a lot of time in Japan. You can get a GH7 brand new in the box, like all official. I think the last one I got, the price was, it was so fucking cheap, dude. It was like 1,100 US, for
and it's a powerful beast, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I love the camera.
You can do a lot with it.
I love the camera. But so that's like $1,100.
Yeah.
Fisheye for 4.3 is like $130. Then some batteries, your cage, your thing. You have to have at least two zooms, two lenses at 24-70, 70-200, maybe one prime. That whole setup, if it's stolen or lost or whatever, I can pretty easily go out and get a new one. If you're kit is in the tens of thousands, it's a lot harder. You know what I mean? So that's like another thing. I would love to have a camera dedicated for long lens with, you know, with a rocking zoom. I'd love to have all those things. I'm a little bit different. I don't have a car. I travel internationally 99% of the time. I'm in places like Brazil, or I'm in Barcelona, or, you know, in a lot of places where you have to kind of, it's like run and gun. You have to have everything on you. You can't just like, you know, I don't have a car. I can't like leave my camera bag somewhere, you know. So it's like there's a lot more constraints for what I do. And so, yeah, so everything fits in a backpack. It's pretty small. It's a pretty compact setup, and that's what I do. Yeah.
Speaking of kits being overly expensive, sometime last year, maybe a year and a half ago, I sold I had the Xtreme lens with the Panasonic camera. I've now gone to the Sony FS5 Mark II with the 8mm fisheye. And I think it's I think I got like an 18 to 110. I think that's a prime lens as well. And
no, it's a zoom, isn't it?
And it's good because you've still got that that zoom still translates with the lens, because.
But that's a 6K body, right?
You can get the upgrade, the firmware upgrade to it, can't you?
Yeah. So that one's a 4K, and just
no. I mean 6K as in price point.
Oh, sorry, right.
Yeah. No, that's the 5. So I got that because the FS6 is. I got the 5 and had it upgraded to a Mark II. I got the body for £700.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Then the lens was 6. The zoom lens was 1.5. That's the first time I ever got an interchangeable lens camera where I was like, shit, the long lens is more. I'm used to spending money on the fisheye.
Yeah.
But when I had the Panasonic camera with that Century Xtreme, I managed to get 2 of them. I bought one for like 1,000, one for 1,500, maybe around like 2020. And then by 2021, I went to buy one and it was 6,000. And then 2022 or 23, it was 8,000.
Yeah.
And I just sold my lens and bought that just because of the weight as well, and having to pull it along in a carry bag. And I guess that question was leading on to like, did you ever use that setup? And what do you think of it like quality wise now? Because I think they can look quite low bit rate kind of.
I mean,
the videos.
I mean, the last time I had a Century and was using it was filming for Pretty Sweet. So I did a bunch of China trips, you know, with Guy, you know, fucking Eldridge, Beeble, we did full trips with like the whole squad or whatever. And that was kind of the last time I was using it. And it was girls, you know,
unbelievably heavy.
Yeah. So it was super heavy. You know, I felt it was really soft. There's a lot of
see it around the edges.
Yeah, like fall off, huge fall off around the edges with sharpness.
Yeah.
And it's not you know, those cameras aren't even, you know, you're filming 4K, you know, or 5K, right? And those cameras are nowhere near that.
Yeah.
So so I think a little bit of it is just like, you know, we fetishize these things, and we have like such a skateboarding is so, and videography in skateboarding is so, you want to capture a feeling, right? And you want to capture a feeling, you want to create the same kind of things that you saw that inspired you, right? So once we moved on from the VX1000, for me, I filmed with the VX for so long that HD was like, wow, man, it's so much clearer, it's so much sharper. Like you could do so much more with it. You know, you could film like at a, you know, you could simulate film, you know, filming 24, you know, P and all the things that you couldn't do with a VX. And then, but the next generation, they, you know, were really like idolized and fetishized those videos with that. So there was like all the VX. And then at the beginning, when the VX was phasing out, everyone hated the Century and that level of HD. You know, people were talking a lot of shit.
I feel like there was a grey area. You kind of see it in like the odd reel video and stuff where they've got the camera body, but they haven't got the Xtreme, and they're trying different lenses, and you can tell one's not really wide, one's too wide, and it's cropped in. And then whoever first got that Xtreme, similar to how Dan Wolf got the Mark I, that's kind of my generation's VX1. I had the VX1 Mark I, and now that Xtreme with that Panasonic felt like I've still I've got this generation's VX1 Mark I, but after 6 years of using it and releasing 2.5 videos on it, I was just getting back problems just using it. And then if I was traveling international, I'd have to cram it all into a backpack and carry it instead of a pull along case. It was actually, I went to the doctors with back spasms, and it was just using constant weight on this arm was numbing all of.
Did you think, had you thought about like maybe cutting your hair as well, just to get rid of the weight?
Yeah, possibly.
Because it could have been that.
Well, this isn't real hair. This is just stitched onto this is stitched onto the hat.
But then if you remember at that point when that was a new thing, like people weren't like, this is amazing. People were like, this is shit. People didn't like it at the time. Only like you said, like the next generation that like remembered the videos that they loved on that, like wanted to have that. So I think it's tough. I'm not gonna say, because I've had been filming skateboarding videos for 30 plus years, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen insane amount of like technology and cameras and shifting. So again, it's like for me, iPhone, $10,000 camera, $100,000 camera, fucking camera mounted on car, drone in the air. It runs the whole gamut, and it doesn't really matter. Hopefully, I think it's the reflection of the filmer and the editor and how they want to capture it, and the level of skateboarding. Because some stuff that's happening, some stuff in skateboarding that's happening, it doesn't matter how you film it. It's so good that it's gonna come across. If you fucking draw a picture of it, like it's gonna be amazing. So there's that. There's not one thing that's gonna be like, this is it. And then consistency. So to me, a video part that everything looks like it fits together is gonna be way better than something that like has some of the best cameras and some of the best angles and some of the original things, because that could be just too much in the mix. The last video part I just put out was actually a nightmare, because it was started on a HPX, and then I kind of finished it on GH6, GH7, and then there's like a whole bunch of different things, and I spent so much time trying to make the footage match and have a uniform look. That was insane. And then audio for all those different cameras too. So it's not just how you see it. It's not like what you're seeing, the colors. It's also what you're hearing. So all of that was like a nightmare. But I think I got in a good place where it looked pretty uniform. But again, that's like, even like the ender of that part was filmed like while I was editing, very, very late in the process, and was on an Extreme. But I had to crop it to 4:3 because the whole project was that, and make it look like it worked. So it was like a nightmare.
We're using DaVinci Studio for editing and stuff. Is that what you're using now?
No, so I'm still on Premiere. But a lot of people I know are on DaVinci, and they're making the switch. And I'm thinking about it.
It's crazy that they've done it right. Blackmagic, it's a free downloadable version, which is more than capable, unless you want to do anything bigger than 4K. And then that's when you need the studio version. But it's good, isn't it?
I started using it when we started doing this. And at first I was a bit like, I don't know. But it is such a good...
It's like any bit of software, you have to get used to it.
Yeah.
It's like everything's kind of like hidden, and it's like our friend James was on. He described it as, it looks plain, but you open a drawer, everything's there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I enjoy using it. It's really fluid. You've got your different tabs for like your coloring and all your effects, everything. It's all neatly tucked away.
But it's crazy because I'm still traumatized going from Final Cut to Premiere. You know what I mean? And that was maybe 10 years ago. Maybe
I still use Final Cut Pro X at home to edit videos on, and that's another one. It looks super simple, but once you figure out where everything is, and then we always go back to this question: when you play a video, how many people are watching it going, what did he edit that on? You know what I mean? Like who fucking cares? When it gets to that. But I think that was, like I said, I'm still using it at my house, and straightforward, simple, get the most out of it. And I've never used Premiere Pro. It's kind of one that kind of scares me a little bit. It seems like it's got so much there. I wouldn't know where to begin.
DaVinci is really good for color grading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
it is
really powerful for that. So,
hang on a minute. We need to talk about your sponsor for this episode of the Brain Drain Show. Toby, take it away.
Today's episode is sponsored by You.
You is a supernatural, delicious sparkling water with full fruit flavour. 0 sugar, 0 sweetener, no calories, and nothing artificial. The brand is built on a radical simplicity. Sparkling water, fruit extract, and nothing else.
You is a great way to stay hydrated during the sesh and comes in 3 different flavours. Crispy apple, my favourite here, zesty lemon and pink rhubarb, all with 0 sugar, 0 sweetener, 0 calories and nothing artificial.
Toby, let's crack one of these bad bitches open and get back to the show right now.
ASMR. Let's go back to the 4-on-1 stuff. So you start filming a bit more for 4-on-1. How did that evolve?
Yeah, I mean, that was a 4-on-1 was the best thing that ever happened to me at that time.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't even just filming for 4-on-1. I managed to meet Chris Ortiz, who was the managing editor, and Josh, who was like editing. You know, both of them were 4-on-1, and both of them looked out for me and had a lot of faith in me, and a lot of I was given a lot of opportunities. And because I filmed for 4-on-1, and there was such a name behind it, and you know, co-signed by somebody like Chris Ortiz or Josh, opened a lot of doors for me. And there wasn't really too much else at the time. There was company videos, and then there was 4-on-1. And Transworld started making videos a little bit later, and you know, surpassed 4-on-1 in a lot of different ways. But it was a different kind of a thing, you know. So 4-on-1, because of events and tours and contests, I got to travel a lot, which is something that I really wanted to do. And, you know, I never said no to any trip that Chris asked me to go on, except for there was a 151 trip from like San Diego to like Portland to Burnside for Halloween. And that was the only one I was like, I think I'm going to pass on this one.
Yeah, probably wise.
Was with 4-on-1, was you always just freelancing it, or was there ever a point where you were taken in-house at 4-on-1 and it was like a stable job there?
Yeah, so I would say probably the first couple of years I filmed for 4-on-1 just contributing footage. And then I got put on a retainer. And it was kind of like, oh, we'll pay you this much. And if you film more, then you'll get more. But realistically, the fact that the way it was every 2 months, you know, I'd have a lot of stuff in one issue and then less stuff in the next issue because of the nature of like how we would work on a part and how long it would take. Yeah. So I never went over the retainer, but like that retainer, that, you know, that job, you know, for 4-on-1 was what was my main job. You know, it allowed me to quit working at different places. I worked at Blockbuster for a long time. I worked at different places, and it allowed me to quit that and to film, you know, to film skateboarding full time.
And were they paying for travel as well at that point? Because obviously you were all over the place.
Yeah, so then they were paying for a lot of travel, or it would be like, I'd piggyback a lot of trips. Like there'd be this big contest that they would pay for, and then I would stay in that country for another 2 weeks, or go somewhere really close for 2 weeks and work on another thing, you know. So I would rarely just fly in and out, like fly to Paris for a weekend and fly back. I would fly to Paris, film a contest, film an event, go on a 2-week trip, like a tour, and then be somewhere filming with a skater for, you know, another 10 days or something. Yeah.
With 4-on-1, did you ever, like, how many copies went out, were duplicated every issue?
It went up a lot, and it's hard to remember the exact numbers. And there was things where, like, you know, VHS would be one thing, and then there'd be DVDs. And I remember when I first started 4-on-1, they would send the master to be duplicated, and you know, they'd finish the master, send it out somewhere else, and then they get back, you know, 5,000 copies or 10,000 copies or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they started having banks of VHS machines at 4-on-1
to
and
duplicate,
you know, people would be like, I had homies, I think like Tuan Nguyen, I think there was people who would, their job was to, like, you know, stick 10 or 20, you know, VHS machines,
press record
off the master, and then take them out, you know, slap stickers on them, you know, put them in the case, you know, shrink wrap them, you know, everything. So And then it went to DVDs, and there was a lot of numbers. There would be like, those kind of celebrations like where, oh, this issue did insane, like the BAM issue.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just about to say, I could imagine because of his profile at the time, if that BAM issue was the biggest selling 411 DVD.
So that one is a really crazy one because something I worked on and I filmed for was the Brazilian issue, right? So I think Brazilian issue was
incredible.
Was 64.
60, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Brazilian issue was 64. Ortiz called me up and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna do a Brazilian issue. Like, what do you think? Maybe you can go to this contest and stay like another week and film or whatever." And I was like, "Fuck that, dude! I'm gonna go and I'll stay like 2 months." You know, and I filmed like a ton of stuff for it, and it was a little bit of a labor of love. I love Brazil. I love skating. I love being able to go. A lot of Brazilian skaters were really good friends of mine too. Rodrigo had a day in the life. There was a thing with Bob Burnquist. I did a bunch of film with a bunch of skaters that was kind of their first international video part. It was really something really special. The funny thing is that was the worst selling 4-in-1 ever. Because it came right after, or a couple issues after the BAM issue, which was like the number one.
Yeah.
So then the contrast was even starker. But I remember hearing that and I was just like, that's kind of like a little bit of just because something sells, it doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
Not talking down about BAM at all. But yes, obviously he was a huge persona in skateboarding and beyond.
His profile was like at its peak around that time as well. I think he had the MTV shows and everything. It was all
insane. But for me it was more satisfying, let's say the Brazilian issue, and a lot of people call it to be still years later, and we're like that was amazing, or that was something that they were very proud, Brazilian skaters are proud of. So
4-in-1 was so good. Like every time a new issue came out, we'd be straight in the skate shop, get it. It was just like that was our kind of link to what was going on, because you had the magazines, but actually seeing it in a video, like you said, before then it was just company videos, and 4-in-1 really changed the game, and like those Europe videos when they came out, because we did the whole Europe thing, they were like, we've just loved it, because just like, because we didn't, we had a camera, but we didn't film the whole contest, but you went to the contest and then you could get that video a few months later and you could just relive the whole trip again. It was fucking rad, I
mean, Europe videos in particular were, super special for me to be able to go on these trips and to film. And that was like a reason to be in Europe for like 2 or 3 months, to go to these contests and then to go to Barcelona for a month, or then to go to Bristol or something, or, I was able to film a Danny Wainwright profile in 4-in-1 because, I came and did that. Then I went to all the contests, and so 4-in-1 paid for all that travel for me to go from Bristol to London, then to fly to Amsterdam. Let's say for the first contest was not a big deal. That was the way things got to happen. But it's interesting to hear that too, because I was working for 4-in-1, I was filming, so we were on one side of it, and when you're on that side of it, it's no longer, you can't really see it or enjoy it as a viewer.
I mean, it was 4-in-1 all the time,
Yeah.
It was
literally one of the best things.
Yeah, it was very influential.
It's incredible.
Time,
Well, it's like you said, you watch it and it's like you're there. You know what I mean? You're watching it and you're not. It's like how social media is now. When you go on someone's story at an event, it's like when they came out and you're watching them, you're like, fuck. Like it's like you're there at the event, you're watching it.
First 4-in-1 I got was issue 2. And like I just remember watching it and all the colours, because I guess it'd been duplicated and the cameras
bleeding,
and it was so like the colours, like holy shit. But he's just wore that tape out.
Did you notice an increase in sales with 4-in-1 when it went to DVD? Because obviously, I guess over time VHS went up and then it went down, and DVD kind of steadily, and then it must have just taken off. And I wonder if it was cheaper to make a DVD because there was less time actually physically copying it, from that real time having to press play on a tape. If you could just duplicate it quicker. Idea.
I think the whole conversation, or the whole question about like how many 4-in-1s were sold, is such a hard one to subjectively, because the same thing. Like I know so many people who like they get 1 4-1 like in Argentina, and then from that they copied it and like everyone had it, but it was only one issue, one copy, and it's like just prohibitively expensive to be in some other country and to expect us to pay or get that issue. You know what I mean? And I just feel like I was also one direct end of it. I was filming and sending tapes in, not editing, working with editors there, only filming, sending stuff in, and like out in the road. And then the other side of it where you're talking about like the business of it and the video as a commodity and like how many issues are being sold or how many are duplicated or whatever. I was completely out of that conversation, by design, and I no reason to be part of that. Yeah.
I wonder if something the equivalent kicked up now. I mean, I guess there was the R.A.D magazine. I forgot who, video magazine. I forgot who made that. If something like that could come back now, like DVDs, say like bi-monthly or something, how they would even, like if it would even sell, if it'd be worth it. Because
I think it's technology and where we were at, and it was part of, the evolution, right? Like it starts at the first skate videos were like, like movies, right? They had like a plot and they had like acting, let's say, right? And they were filmed on film. There were movies, and then it went through the golden age of skateboard videos with like Stacy making like Animal Chin, and those were also movies. Like I remember watching Animal Chin as a kid and being confused. They're like acting, and like there's Johnny Rad and there's Animal Chin. It was like, what is going on? And then 8 Street videos came in, and it was just like the trick on a video camera, like a consumer video camera, right? And then slow mode, and just the trick. And then it, the evolution kept going. So then we get to 4-in-1, which was, there was nothing else like that. There was no other video that had the whole industry, and there was no other video that like a kid in Ohio could do a trick and be in there next to Rick Howard or next to another big pro. And that was kind of why people didn't support it too, because some of those big pros and some of those brands didn't like it, that like Johnny from Ohio could be next to them. You know what I mean? But that was how it was working out, and that's what it was. And now we're at a point where, like you said, I mean, you don't really have to watch the recap. You don't have to wait 2 months to watch the recap of the contest. You can watch
it's there in 2 hours.
Yeah, or live. Or live.
Yeah.
Like really, you can see the experiences of the people there at that moment, and you can see everything. And even if you're super quick and you can turn around and blast something out 5 hours later,
it's already been seen.
And you can't really do it less than that, right? You can't really film and edit something in 30 seconds, right? It takes a while.
Yeah.
Do you remember whose idea it was to bring Lance Mountain into kind of being almost like the host of it? Because you said that you looked up to Lance Mountain, then became his friend. Was that through the connections at 4-1-1 as well?
Yes and no. One of the first things I did at 4-in-1 was Steve Caballero part. I filmed with Cab, and Cab did a lot for me. He really looked out for me in a huge way as somebody who like a new filmer, he really was super down to film, super down to do stuff. He wanted to get into 4-in-1. So Cab and I were filming a lot. He introduced me to Lance. And so, because Cab had introduced me to Lance, then, that was obviously like a huge thing. And at the time, Frank Gerwer and I were like a team. So me and Frank was from Long Island.
Dude.
I'm from New York. We would film together a lot. And Frank was trying to get on the firm. So we were kind of a deal. Like, so it was Frank the skater and I was the filmer. And, so like there was a lot of that. And that's how I started really filming for the firm, even to the point where at a certain point, Frank went to Antihero and I stayed at the firm, and then, there was other skaters, whether it's Rodrigo, Uyghur, Javi, that I kind of brought in to the team. And, that was the mix that we had. But to your question, the reality of Lance coming in, I think that they were like, they had asked Lance, or there was different brands had commercials in 4-in-1. And the commercial in 4-in-1 would cost like this much. It's like, $800, $600 to have a commercial in 4-in-1, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it was. And so it was like, hey, the firm can have a commercial in 4-in-1, but if you do this intro, then you get the free commercial. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay the, so whatever. So I think that's kind of how Lance started to do it. And it was even kind of like not that good of a deal, because they would give him a free 15-second commercial, but then he'd send the stuff, and then they would charge you, okay, it's like $400 to edit it. You know what I mean? So it was just like it ended up being maybe more work than it was worth. But I believe it started out with the firm getting a free commercial, Lance getting a free commercial in 4-in-1 in exchange for doing the intro.
I didn't know that. That's good. Yeah. Good insight.
It's also nice that, like you said, Cab just sounds like a rad dude as well. And he was in the UK, and we hit him up to come on, and he was super keen, but he just scheduled his schedule. So I messaged him, and I was just like, I'll come to your house, shotgun microphone, camera on a tripod. And he was like, yeah, let me know when you're here, send you my address, come round, have a talk and a skate. And I was like, no fucking way. Cab's like, come round my house. And then I think I said to,
and then he blocked you straight off.
I said to,
he tried to go, and then no one answered the door.
I said to Toby, and Toby was like, he has no idea that you'll just turn up knocking on his door. I'll go anywhere in the world if someone's like, hey, here's somewhere to come and stay, especially if it's someone like Cab. Like, I'd love to sit down and talk to him.
I mean, when I first started skateboarding, and I picked up a Thrasher and I looked at the Thrasher, there was like a full page ad of Cab. You know what I mean? Like there was like I said, when I first started,
superstar of skateboarding.
Yeah, he was a superstar. And when I first started skating, my best friend, his favorite skater was Lance Mountain. You know what I mean? Like, these guys were the kings of skateboarding, right? And then to meet them, and then being like super, super genuine people, it's just amazing. And like I said, like Cab did a lot for me, where Frank and I would go to his house. We'd stay at his house. We'd be with him, and we'd go film and stuff, and he'd come back and be like, his wife at the time, Sue, amazing person also, they'd be like, oh, we're gonna make steaks tonight, and then we'd been filming all day, and me and Frank were like, fuck, we should let's go to the fucking, like, let's go to the living room and kind of like hide out, you know what I mean, like while they have dinner, like, because it's like kind of fucked up, like we're just here, and we go and kind of hide somewhere, and then Sue would come out like, hey, steaks are ready, come eat, and like, they would cook. She'd cook for us. It was amazing. It's insane. Welcome into the house. We stayed there. We'd filming. We had no money. Frank and I had no money at the time, and so it's amazing that there's that. And I owe a lot to somebody like Cab. And then if I can do a little bit for some of the kids I film with, and be like kind of that for them, then that's kind of worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of, I mean, this is just a question for me as well, obviously, with being a filmer. Do you think being a filmer now in the industry, in this the modern era, do you think it's more difficult now to kind of like be a consistent filmer, get paid well? Because there's always been that thing, especially for my generation, where like sometimes some filmers are very underappreciated, and it's like you're literally delivering, like you're going out, you're picking people up, you're traveling, you're taking them to spots. When we spoke to TJ, his filmer knew like his dietary requirements, everything. And it's like, that's a team manager right there. And then you're filming all day, then logging it and editing it.
I mean, sometimes the filming is the easiest part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes the filming is the actual filming.
The active filming
could be 17 minutes, you know what I mean? Between getting out of the car, turning on the camera, we have 15 minutes till the cops get here. Let's get this trick. You get it. The filming is easy, can be, right? And the rest of it is really hard. The answer is actually super shitty.
Mm-hmm.
That no, it's super, super difficult to be a professional videographer. I don't know anybody. I'm old as fuck. I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I don't know anyone my age still putting out video parts. I think a lot of it has to be with I try to be, or I'm a lot of different places. I'm pretty much a new city every week. And I'm trying to be in the street with the best skateboarders I can be with, filming the best skating, and also trying to find and help like the next generation, or like those kids that could be that guy in the future. But it's really hard. You have to travel. Skateboarding is not, it's not like, you know, maybe like the late 90s where you could be like at Santa Monica Courthouse and everyone's going to come, or at EMB and everyone's coming, or at Love Park and everyone's going to come there and do that, you know? But, you know, you have to kind of be in the mix, and skateboarding is all over the world, and the level is so high. So when you film, you know, people have to like, the level of skateboarding is really, really high.
You have to be everywhere all the time.
Yeah, kind of
moving all the time.
And then I'm super lucky. I'm able to like work with skaters and reach out to their team managers who maybe I filmed their team managers when they were kids and coming up. And then, or I talk to the brand manager at the other company, the companies that they skate for, and I actually know the brand managers or whatever. That means a lot. And then there's a level of trust, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like you're going to go, and you want to take the skater for 2 weeks to Barcelona or something, and to make something happen. And like, okay, we'll invest in that. And it's very hard if you're an unknown or people don't, you know, haven't seen your work or whatever. And then it's really tough because, like I said, it's not about even skateboarding and filming. You have to be able to kind of work with everybody, and there's a lot of personalities, and some of the very best skateboarders are dysfunctional people, you know what I mean? And some of the very best skateboarders, you know, their work ethic or the process of getting there is all over the place. Some guys they know what they want to do, just take them to the fucking spot, shut up, turn on the camera, and be where they want you to film from. Some people have no idea what trick they want to do. They don't know what spot they want to go to. You know, they can only eat the food from their hometown, or, you know, that they're comfortable with, and they can't just go to China and, you know, like, and function. So there's a lot of different things, you know what I mean? You know, and then, you know, there's so culturally, I film with a lot of women skaters too, men skaters. Like there's a lot of different ways that, you know, like, it's insane how much has to go into actually being able to get to a spot and just filming and just skating
and getting a 2 or 3 second long clip.
Yeah. And then you need 60 of those clips to make a video part.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It is madness, isn't it? Yeah. I guess that just comes with experience, though, isn't it? With, would you say, 30 years you've been doing it? So
yeah, I mean,
you kind of get to work out how to handle people.
It comes with that, and also like knowing how shitty a 9-to-5 regular job is. So no matter how hard it is to film skateboarding, it's way better than working in some warehouse that I worked in, or like litany of shitty jobs. You know what I mean? So it is a dream job, you know. You know, it's amazing, you know. And sometimes you can have all the pieces. You know exactly what you have, all the pieces. You go somewhere and it rains every day for 10 days.
Yeah.
You know. So there's some things you can control and some things you can't. You know. But yeah, skateboarding is crazy. It's fucked. It's
absolutely.
And obviously you've got, let's say, a client, a healthy client list of skateboarders under the roster. Who's been one of the best and most consistent people that when you know that you're going skating with them, you're like, holy shit, it's going to go down? Because sure,
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's generations. I mean, there's like,
because the Brazilians at that time, they were dominating skating as well.
Yeah. I mean, I remember filming when I first started filming professionally. I did a part with Marc Johnsons and a part with Gershon Mosley, and both of them in their own rights were two of the best skateboarders I'd ever seen. Marc Johnsons was insane. You know what I mean? Like the level of the skating he was doing, the tricks and everything. You know, but anyone who knows Marc, you know, knows he can be a little bit out there. I remember I went to a rail. I went to a rail with him, right? We drove with him. Drove to the spot. He wanted to do kickflip front board on this rail. At the time was like kind of a high level, like kind of crazy. Battled it for a while, was tripping out, you know, whatever. He kickflipped front board of the rail, rode away. I was like, fuck, dude, so sick. You know, got the clip, did it. He rode away, got to his car, opened the trunk, put his board in the car, closed the trunk, and drove away. And I remember thinking, like, he drove me. Like, he just left. You know, he was just like, he landed the trick and he was just like, I'm out of here.
Did he come back for you?
No. Luckily we were with some other friends and I got a ride with some other guys. But I mean, it's totally fine.
Did he apologize later?
No, but there's nothing to apologize. I mean, I totally dig it. You know what I mean? You're like, you're frustrated. You want to do something, and you're like done, and like you're either gonna focus your board, freak out, throw your board, or you just need to get out of there. And he just went out of there, and that's probably fine, and that's fine. You know, I'm not tripping. But you know, I vividly remember that. And then filming with Gershon was insane. He never stopped skating.
Sweat all over the lens.
Dude, insane. He would do the hardest tricks. He would skate for hours, finally be done. It was crazy. Then he would film a homie.
Oh,
so he would pull out a camera and he would film somebody like right after. And I would be like, this is insane.
Super consistent as well, right?
Yes, super consistent. Consistent.
I heard a story somewhere of someone saying that they were filming him, and as he was skating, they were like, the sweat was like hitting them because he was absolutely fucking drenched from skating.
I always remember Northampton at Radlands Comics. You'll probably remember this, Mackie. When Gershon would slam, it'd just be like sweat all across the course, and everyone was like, "Whoa!" So good. Stop right there, Ford.
Today's episode is sponsored by Rect, and they have just dropped this super tech new Guardian 18-litre backpack.
It features a laptop pocket, quick access soft pockets for fragile gear like your sunglasses or your phone, strapped in water bottle holders, YKK zips, and even a whistle to get attention.
It also has an energy foam removable insert, a helmet loop, a universal water pouch attachment, loads of straps and pockets, and an SOS panel where you can write your details down just in case you get lost in the wilderness.
Big up, Rect.
Big up, Rect. Now, Toby, back to the show.
I mean, a crazy Gershon story I remember was we were filming a part for 4-1. This is like years and years ago, and he wanted to switch Smith grind Hubba Hideout before Costin did it.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I want to go. We have to do this. I want to switch Smith grind it, first. And I would remember being like kind of a young filmer, like, and being like, wow, this is insane that you want to do this because you think that Eric Costin is going to come do it. So you're going to go do it.
Did he get tipped off that Costin was talking about it or something?
I have no idea. I have really no idea at the time. But we went to Hubba. He battled it a little bit. He switched Smith grinded it. And we were like, damn, that's insane. No photographer at the time. It was just video. And then, and he's like, film this, and I'm like, okay. And then he did switch lip slide first try after the switch Smith, So it was like, yeah, it was crazy. There's like certain things, and like, they're the best skateboarders because they had such a focus like on it. But like, if you're asking me who the best were, like Mark Appleyard was the best skater. I remember filming with him, and like I filmed like his last trick in Sorry, a bunch of different things, and the level was just insane. Rodrigo is one of those dudes, and I filmed with him from the very beginning to now. We're still filming. We're working on a part now. One of the very best skateboarders I've ever seen. Javier Sarmiento, one of my favorite skaters and amazing skateboarder.
That front side flip clip just sticks in my head over the pyramid where it's like he freezes in the air and just like, it's like someone's keyframed him.
So
quick.
But what's crazy is that, so that was in a Europe video.
Yeah.
And then, so I filmed the fisheye. And I remember, man, that's fucking insane. And it just came and went in a Europe video. And it wasn't until like 15 or 20 years later that because of social media,
that someone got that clip.
Yeah, people like would post it and it would be a thing. So it's even more seen now or talked about than it was in the moment, right? Because it was just one of 100 tricks from, Germany in that 4-1, right?
It's really interesting because that's a prime example of it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yeah.
And like that is such a memorable trick. Like how quick I can
picture it now, unreal. And like how it freezes. It's like he flips it, catches it, and he's
still
already going
up
in a direction, and then it's like he goes, snaps it in the air. But like I met him, he's super nice. Jesus Fernandez.
Yeah.
Like seeing those two skate in Spain, it was like so fucking. I just felt like a little gimp being there on the session, kind of looking, but they were just both really nice.
But so Javi is the best skater. He doesn't give a fuck, but he is the best skateboarder. So, so he is one of those guys. Eric Peterson also is one of those guys. To let's say more forward, Miles Silva is somebody who if every time I go to film with him, it's like kind of like, it's not like, oh, is he gonna do it? It's like, he'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, like Miles is the fucking best, you know, and a great kid, you know. I mean, you know, someone I've been lucky enough to film with from when he was really young to now. And like, I love how he skates, and, you know, he's amazing to film with. There's people like, you know, I've been filming with Aimu a lot, and Aimu is like somebody that people look at and like, you know, the style, the tricks, the flick, you know, crazy, the catch, everything. Dude, Aimu's insane. Like, I just put out a part with Kento Urano, and Kento is a magician, you know, like, just he's got a little bit of Javi in him. An amazing skater. You know, like, it's not easy to put out a part and have a trick that no one's ever seen. You know what I mean? That's insane, actually, to think about it. And he's done that. And yeah, there's a lot of kids. There's a lot of skaters. You know, many more that I'd be like, yeah, this is. And Jamie Foy, to be honest, like, if he doesn't do something first try, it's kind of shocking.
Yeah.
Like, he is actually insane. He is the best. Yeah. Jamie is one of the best for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, those are all the guys. I mean, and those are not like, there's no secret. Like, two-time Skater of the Year is really good. Like, yeah, okay. You know, like, yeah. It's really fun to film with a guy who got Skater of the Year twice. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, amazing. You know,
when it comes to, I just want to get your take on it as well. When you're filming in the street, if there's a crew there and they're pulling out their phones, do you have any issue with being like, put your phone away? Like, do you freak out that someone's going to film it and just post it like on?
Honestly,
because it's kind of hard now, I think.
I mean, honestly, no. I mean, I'm not really in a, you know, it's not like we're at I'm at like Hollywood High or something with like 50 people I don't know. Usually we're in the street and like everyone is there.
It's like a crew that understands.
Yeah, or if somebody who's kind of random there, but they still kind of know, and you'd be like, you obviously know, like, we just spent 4 hours trying to film this trick. It's probably better you don't just post it right there. You know what I mean? Like, they understand the process. I know some filmers, friends of mine, who would like go to people and be like, don't film, and like, whatever. I don't even worry about it. Me personally. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What parts are you working on at the moment then? You said you're working on one with Rodrigo.
Yeah, so we're
working... Which will be fucking sick, because he's amazing.
Well, Rodrigo is a little bit different. I'm actually trying to work on a little documentary too, where it's like, I'm trying to tell his story from when we met, and he was like 15 years old. We met at the contests in Europe, and he went on to win Prague that year, and a lot of things started happening for him, and he got on the firm, and I've been filming with him since then. And so it's kind of like that whole story. And you know, I interviewed like Lance and Ray Barbie from the firm. I interviewed, I was actually really lucky. I sat his dad down, interviewed his father about all this stuff, and maybe 8 months later he passed away unexpectedly. So it's super you know, sad. And you know, I was really close to the whole family, but also like, you know, like, I'm really happy that we were able to get those memories and stuff. And you know, having him part of it means a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on, something with Rodrigo for that. We just went to Lyon and interviewed French Fred about Medic Madi and everything, and kind of put them together. And it was the first time they had been together for like in years, like, you know, decades. And then there's a video part that goes along with that. So we have like a video part too with that. So that's separate. I'm working on a bunch of parts. I just did like the Kento Urano part for FTC in Japan. Another homie of mine writes for FTC. His name's Leo Takayama, and we have a part. We're probably like 80% done with that. So it's like another part. I'm working with a part with this girl Margie, who skates for the Philippines, who's from the Philippines. We're working on a part there. I've got like a little bit of a all women's video project. Like little parts with a bunch of women skateboarders, some from Brazil, some from Japan, all over. And that is hopefully going to be something that's going to be on Thrasher, and that's kind of like a work in progress. Some of the women have like more of a or less kind of full parts, and some are kind of starting. Just a lot of different things. I'm trying to get a part going with Marcello Campagnello, who's from New York, skates for New Balance. One of my favorite skaters. So there's I probably have like kind of probably projects kind of in the works.
Sounds like about 500 projects in the work, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know how it goes. It's like sometimes it really comes and you get it and it rolls, and sometimes it's kind of stalled or people get hurt. And then sometimes like you have a window, like Thrasher was like, okay, this Kento part, like, okay, we can do it here. We can do this. So I was like, okay, we have to finish it in that time. Or sometimes there's no more budget, or like there's no more trips. So let's do what we have to do. It's all across the board. You know what I mean? You know, with timing. I did a little thing with Primitive with IMU that's supposed to drop pretty soon. So some of it I'm filming and editing. Some of it I'm filming, giving it to the brands, and once it's out of my hands, sometimes I don't know what's going to happen with it or how long it takes. Right? Yeah. So it's a lot of different things.
Yeah, I'm just hyped to see anything you put out, like the Meaty There part for I don't want to butcher his name.
Leo Bartolazzi, or
no, was it Meaty There on Free Magazine
with Ryuhei?
Is that his name?
Yeah, from Japan, Ryuhei Kitazume.
And he had the part in the Lens 3 video as well.
Yeah, Ryuhei.
Like, I love the contrast between the Lens part and that part. Like that Lens video. Shinpei Ueno is the guy behind Lens, isn't he? And incredible videos, but I have to pause them and go.
Yeah, they're pretty intense.
I have to have a break because I don't know how long he spends editing those videos, but they've got to have the most crammed in.
Yeah.
And like when you
so dense.
And then when you watch, like if they do like a little behind the scenes, and it's like there's 2 long lens, one guy's filming, and then he's holding the light up here in midnight, and I'm like, bro, just put it on your hot shoe.
Yeah.
Like, and then they put a bag around the light to diffuse it. It's like I looked up to their filmmaking again, like with Takahiro Morita with the Far East Skate Network. Incredible. All the videos from Japan at that time as well. I remember getting that Overground Broadcasting video because I saw the Gumiyagi part on YouTube where he's like going around all the rails and showing people that, like, I took the DVD to the skate park in Leicester and I was like, we need to watch this video, and I could not get anyone to watch it because it was like 5 years long.
Yeah.
Because it was a 2-part DVD. It probably had 1,000 different skateboarders in it. Like Quim had a part in one of them, Buznitz had a part. But then that Gumiyagi part where he's talking about, you know, putting the fabric on his board and stuff. And anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but that video part was good. I enjoyed watching that because I was like, oh, I can chill a little bit and watch this, because his Lens part was fucking so crazy.
But that's why he made that video. That's why he made that part. And that's why he put it out, because for people like you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So it's crazy you mentioned that. So Ryuhei, I filmed the part with him. He had that Lens part done.
Yeah.
Like it was all done. Right. And we're like, okay, shit, we're going to do that. He's going to come that's going to come out, and then we'll film a different part. And I was like, okay, sure. So that was all in Japan, all Osaka, all Tokyo, pretty much all at night.
Night footage. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like we filmed the part in Europe basically. And then I went to Japan and we filmed a little bit at night. So it was kind of like a contrast, and it was kind of meant to be super separate, super different. You know what I mean? And the same thing with this Kento part. So Kento has another full part that's about to come out for my friend Naoya, who filmed Lens, who's a filmer at Evisen. Amazing dude, amazing filmer.
Evisen,
amazing, amazing editor. He's got his own video. It's called 100 Gums, and that's coming out really soon. And so Kento has a full part in that, and that's all filmed at night. It's a really different vibe. It's a little bit frenetic editing. The music is really different. And so actually I purposely filmed and edited the part that we just put out, the FTC part, to be a contrast to that. So it's all in the day.
Yeah.
The song's really, really mellow, and it's kind of like meant to be in a companion piece.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
it works so well.
But nobody's seen the other part yet, so it's hard to understand that it's a companion piece until that. But I think the 100 Gums part is coming out really soon, and it's really hard. It's even more of showing you how amazing Kento is, because he was filming 2 parts at the same time. Literally, there's a couple clips. We were in Tokyo. There's a couple times we filmed. We got some stuff in the day, and he would go back to his brother. Kento's brother was going to university in Tokyo. He's going to university in Tokyo. Kento would come out with me. We'd meet up. We'd film from 11 to 5. Then he would go back to his brother's dorm room and sleep for a few hours and go out at midnight all night with
Dedication
Naoya,
is
yeah,
insane.
and film again, and it was like insane. I would be fucked by like after a day of filming, I'm like done,
Yeah.
and then he's like going out at night. So he's amazing. It's amazing.
I've got so much respect for those, for like Shinpei and all those filmers, and I forgot the guy's name. It might be Semi. At the end of his part, he does a front side lip slide, then kick flips out, and his feet are like,
he's like, isn't it?
Insane.
It's fucking. But all those skateboarders, like I've never been to Japan or anything.
And I remember going to that spot, that exact spot where he did the lip slide kick flip, and it was like at 3 p.m. and like looking at it and getting kicked out, just looking at it, you know. So I was like, how the fuck did he come here and do this? Because that's
daytime,
like, you kind of have. I mean, that's something that you spend hours, right? You know, trying to do. But yeah, it's I mean, but that's it too. So then that's like the underlying thing. Like we're making videos for, you know, the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we're also making videos for ourselves and for our community. But you can't also really get caught up, you know, like I don't want to be a 50-year-old filmer editor making videos for other 50-year-old dudes. You know what I mean? That doesn't really make sense. But yes, I'm trying to make a video like for people who love skateboard videos.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the caveat is that not everyone likes what you want. You know what I mean? There's people like, you know, there might be 10 comments. This is the most amazing video part. This part ruled. This is insane. I love the music, whatever. And be like, that song sucked.
I always get that. Like,
so yeah, you
can't please everyone.
Yeah, you can't please everyone. But I do understand. It's like, it's a big responsibility. It's a big honor for someone to be like, all this work, you know, skateboarder puts all this work into these tricks, and okay, here, and like, do your thing. And so it's like a lot of responsibility, because it's like, fuck, I don't know, you know. And even with Kento, I was like, you know, I would always check up on him and be like, what do you think? And like, you know, this, and he would be like, take this trick out, and I'm like, that trick's good. Like, you spent 3 hours trying to do it, and it's cool. And he's like, nah, no. You know, okay, cool, fuck it. So you just throw it away. But I respect it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is the longest that you've ever filmed one trick?
Oh, this is an outlier, let's say, but I went to Dubai on a world skate contest. I also like coached the Philippine national team for a little bit. We went there, and there was an amazing street spot, like a sidewalk, almost like a kicker and a driveway. You know, so it's like natural, like kind of like, you know, kicker over driveway. It was amazing. And there's this kid, Motik, from the Philippines, amazing skater. He skated for the Philippines. And so we went and he wanted a backside flip this street gap. And we went like probably 4 days in a row. And we'd have like a window. We'd have like, okay, we can go like, you know, 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. for a couple hours. So we went like 4 days. And he tried it. It was a fucking nightmare. He couldn't get it. The last day he landed it, but it was kind of like you land on the sidewalk and then he came off and he kind of fell off. And it was kind of like he kind of did it, but then it's not really usable. But he was like so in the moment and like was working so hard that he was like, well, that was it. And I was like, fuck, we can't use this, but we can't really. It's the last day. And so a year later, the next contest, 1 year later, there was another contest in Dubai, and he actually had the opportunity to have a photo in Thrasher, an ad. Like, so the company that he wrote for wanted an ad. And I was kind of like, fuck, dude. Like, and then the window was like kind of like this day, like, you know, like February 15th. And we were in Dubai until the 12th. So it was kind of like, okay, well, we have to like, nothing happened, nothing worked or whatever. So, okay, let's try to, basically I was like, fuck, let's try to get this backside flip. And then it was the same thing. 4 days of it where it was like trying, it didn't work. And then it was like, fuck, maybe just kickflip it. It could be cool. And then maybe tray flip, whatever. And it was nothing, like nothing really worked. And then it went back to the backside flip. And it was the last day. The last day we were there, we went like at 9 a.m. and he fucking rode away at like 2 p.m. And he did it perfectly. It was crazy. He did it perfectly, landed and like rode off the curb and like kept on going. It was insane. And it was literally like, this is our last day. And it was like 5-hour battle. You know, Dubai's hot is fucking insane. Yeah, it's like, it's insane, right? And so, yeah, that's one of them. I mean, that was like a full year later. You know what I mean? you know. But that's like
for 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. And it looked super easy. It looked super chill.
Yeah,
you know.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like people don't realize that what goes into those really short clips.
And we have a really close friend, another filmer. Like this is like my brother. Like we were there, and he was with us for the first 3 days. The last day, he's like, "I'm not going." Kind of like, fuck it. He went to the pool, you know. And I can't fault him, you know. But I was like, because that's how it is. It was like he's like, this is not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, you know. And it's insane what goes into a video part. It's like
we've spoken about this before. Like, what other activities or cultures have, you know, that kind of psychotic. It's almost like self-abuse to like for, you know, the project. It's mad, isn't it?
I think that's why skateboarding attracts a certain kind of person. Like that's why we skateboard, because we want to take that much time to get 3 seconds of footage.
Yeah, but then that same person is going to spend 7 hours trying this trick over 12 Sundays, is also not the easiest person to like order food with at a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like they're not the guy who's going to like just order off the menu, right? So it's catch-22. Like there's this, you know, it's insane. Like sometimes you have to just like, you're out of your mind. Like I go to a spot sometimes, I'm feeling like it doesn't matter if they land it or if they don't land it. It's just this, like, you know, the fisheye, when he drops a board, go here, make sure you don't cut off that and like whatever. And just the rest of it is just don't think about it. You know what I mean? Don't work. Don't be like, fuck, it's the next one. It's so close or whatever. Like, don't hype yourself up. Don't, you know, whatever. But also like, let the skater understand that you're there. You know what I mean? It's so fucked.
Because you never want to be, myself anyway, you never want to be that filmer where you're there and it's making them think, God, they don't want to be here. Like,
no, for sure.
If they're like doing it and coming back and safing you, and you're just kind of like, like you've always got to keep that nice level of hype. But I've learned that to kind of be like, it gets that point where you're like, fuck, it's the next one. Yeah. And then they lose it for an hour. It's like not working, and then they're like, oh, I just put my foot in a slightly wrong place. And then it comes back. It is that wave.
Yeah, it's insane.
But staying on that nice middle level, because you've got to enjoy, you got to love filming as well. Like even the point where I'm there and I'm crouched down and I'm
even
fisheye.
When it's torture.
Yeah, and so like I'm there fisheye, someone's doing something, they're eating shit, and then you just look at the camera and you're like, you're hyped. You know what I mean? Even all that little shit in between.
No, I mean, I love it. I love filming.
Yeah.
I love all of it, but it's tough. You know, it's like when you're there and it's been 3 days and you're like, the sun is right perfect and it looks so great and it's super golden. And like, dude, if you land it now, this is going to be the best clip ever. And then you're there 4 more hours. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you turn on the fucking light. And then like, you know, whatever.
And they've said to you, next try about 1,000 times. And then
you know, and or like, dude, all the things they're doing, all things right, and then it starts to rain, or security comes, or the cops, or whatever, and it's just like, it's insane what goes in. But and you can't adequately, like, so the video part that just came out with Bobby DeKaiser, you know, like, to me that was the only thing that's ever really encapsulated the process, and you understand. And there's a shot where there's a camera, you know, fisheye camera, just like, you know, kind of there, and something happened, and Bobby was like, picks up his board and like fucking smashes it, then focuses it, and then focuses his tail or whatever. And the guy filming was just like, you know, saw that, and then he just, you know, skated to the ledge, you know, took the fisheye off, put the stuff in his, you know, his camera in the bag, like didn't say anything, like nothing needed to be said. He's like, okay, I understand where we're at, you know, like just put stuff. To me, that's like, it perfectly kind of showed like, you know, what happens. Because at the end of the day, you know, you talk about like, oh, you know, what about somebody filming? If somebody's like filming whatever, they'll film for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Yeah. That motherfucker doesn't give a fuck and is not going to be there, you know, 3 hours later when he lands. To be honest, I'm not worried. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, usually 99% of the time, it's you and the fucking skater. That's it. You know, it's insane, you know. And then for every 10 tricks, only 3 tricks make it to your video part, you know, or 3 tricks make it, and then you look and somebody else did one of those tricks. So it's 2. It's interesting, man.
It's torture.
I love those special. In the UK, it's a bit more rarer, but I love those special days where like the sky's blue. You don't need to keep. Oh, the cloud's coming over. Oh, there's a break here, so you got to sort out your exposure. Or that fucking time where it's like it's not dark, but it's just not daylight, and you got this weird, horrible backdrop color of like
grey,
like dust. It's like, you know what I mean. Nighttime's coming in, and for me, I've been at the point where we're like filming somewhere, and the sun's going in, and it's just getting dark, but you just can't get the colours and stuff to look right, because it's that weird in between. And I've been like, let's get something to eat and come back. Trust me, in 30 minutes, it will look better in the pure dark than if we're in that weird kind of like 8, 9 p.m. summertime where you just can't get the colours. Like sometimes it's just a pure mental game.
But you never know. Is it the next one? Because it could be just the next one.
Yeah, you're forever trapped.
Yeah, so it's like, it's tough, man. It's tough. And then the object is to make the skateboarding seem effortless. And, so it's catch-22.
Yeah.
You're trying to make these extremely hard tricks look easy and fun and good. You know what I mean? And then as the filmer, as the skater, you get as many tries to get it right. But when you're filming, you have to film every single one right.
Yeah,
right? You can't be like, I filmed 99 of those. So
you
good.
have to give
it looks so sick, but the one that you landed, I cut off your head.
You have to give every attempt 100%, like every bit of your attention, because if you start like flogging, like losing that attention, and they land it, and then you've cut out the landing, or they're just like slightly too far in the corner, or the head's cut, and you're like, fuck, now I'm the dick.
Yeah.
To somebody who doesn't know anything about skateboarding, if you were to listen in and hear that whole process, people just think we're insane. Like being there that long and filming for that long.
I mean, that's just pure patience.
But it goes back to like something like where you're like, okay, are filmers adequately paid, or like how do you even understand like there's some things that were really first try. Like so in that Kento part, he wanted to kickflip back nose blunt this rail. He'd never been there. It's a different city. He'd never even been to that city. Never been to that rail. The rail looks like it would be good for the trick. We think about it. We go, his first time, we went there 5 days. We skate all this other stuff. We went to the rail the last day. Fucking go to the rail. The rail's perfect. It's kind of a bust. So we're like, hey, shit, let's get it going. He did like 1 back lip, 3 kickflip back lips. He's like, okay, I'm going to try. He did it first try. Kickflip back nose blunt, first try. Perfect.
Shit.
To the point where like, even I was like, sometimes you're like, you don't film the first ones because you're like, let him get into it, let him feel it out. And then this one, I was like, I'm going to film, and fucking you did it, right? And when he did it, I didn't even know, because it, fisheye, whatever, it kickflip back nose blunt looks like kickflip back lip, right? Like, I mean, in the moment, it's so fast, and it was only like he rode away, and it was only from because Aimu was there too. His reaction, I was like, oh fuck, that was it, and we looked, and it was perfect, And so there's sometimes it's first try, and sometimes it is like fucking 10 days,
A year.
Yeah, or a year. And so how do you adequately say like this is worth this or this is worth that?
Don't know.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's tough, but it's great. I mean, like fuck, we're living I'm living a dream. I'm living a dream job. I love skateboarding, and I love to film, and I get to film with some of the best skateboarders in the world, and maybe get to film with some of the best skateboarders, that some of the kids that will be the best skateboarders in the best world. And regardless, even if it sucks, we're outside at a handrail, and I'm not inside in an office.
Yeah.
You're not in a shopping center selling perfume.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I have to deal with the cops, but I don't have to deal with customers. So it's a hard one. I mean, it's an easy one for me to be.
Yeah, it is.
It's just a fucking dream, dude. I work in skateboarding.
Yeah.
So it's like every day, every project is like the first one. And every day, I'm like, it's funny, we talk about 4-in-1. Nobody gives a shit about 4-in-1. Nobody fucking knows about 4-in-1. Like, we're old. I'm old. I film for 4-in-1. Fuck, 4-in-1, whatever. Dude, I film with kids like 17. Dude, 4-in-1 was forgotten when they started skateboarding. They don't even know what that is. They've never watched a video on a VHS. Their first video was, a video, like a YouTube link. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter. We talk about like Steve Caballero is maybe the best skateboarder of all time. He had video parts, won contests, had a pro shoe, had a pro board, still has a pro shoot to this day. We can go down to the high street into a Vans store and he has a Steve Caballero shoe, right? He's done more than anyone, done everything, been on the cover of every magazine, whatever. Steve Caballero might be the greatest professional skateboarder of all time, right? There's kids out there that Kevin put together that it's a person and a shoe, right? It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, skateboarding keeps you super humble. That's really it. Like, so it doesn't matter. I could be like, hey, I filmed Bastian's last trick and sorry. Nobody fucking cares. You know what I mean? Like, people like, what, like, if you said that sentence, I filmed Bastian's last trick and sorry, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. People. Yeah. But, I love it. And that's super special to me. That's super important. I look at Fred. Fred is an amazing videographer. One of the best. Sorry is one of the best videos ever. If I could be a little piece of that, that's amazing to me. But it's also very much about like what it is today. You know what I mean? And it's like, we have Mark Baines. To me, one of the best British skateboarders ever. I remember seeing him do a switchback. He's
crying now. Dude, you've made him cry.
I remember seeing a sequence of a switchback nose blunt years ago that I'd never seen anyone do at the time. It was insane. Baines 95 switch flip back nose blunt. Oh, is it? Okay. Kick flip back nose blunt.
Still,
yeah. Okay. But still. Where I remember at the time it was like, this is insane and so sick. 1995, that's 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
30 years ago. And then fucking, dude, they just went to fucking Switzerland and him and fucking, and Flo, like, just had like a thing in pocket or whatever, like flat ground tricks. And the flat ground tricks were so proper, caught and flipped, like so good. You know what I mean? And so like, that is like, maybe the kids, for sure, none of those kids had seen kickflip back nose blunt at Radlands in 95, but they see today, what you do. And that to me is like, skateboarding keeps you humble, basically. It doesn't really matter what you did, it's great, but it's like what you do now. And I think that's super important. And that's something that like, I try to lean into, and I try to like, I'm like, dude, I like to be as productive and do as much as I can now, I mean, I look at like, Ben is what a special person.
Yeah.
An insanely special
Beautiful
person. On the board, amazing. Off the board, amazing. You know what I mean? Like the kind of guy, like if your mom was sick, you trust him to take her to the hospital. You know what I mean? Like a great, great dude, shining, out of him. Was super lucky enough to like, we went on a lot of trips. We filmed a lot of trips. Some trips we went on, just us. We went to China. He tried to get a couple things on this big trip. We didn't enjoy China trip. He tried to get a couple things. He didn't get them. We went back to, we did another trip to Taiwan months later. And then I was like, fuck, I asked Matt Eversole, who's the brand manager. I was like, hey, we never had a really chance to get this. I think, what about me and Ben staying another week after Taiwan? We'll fly to China, just the two of us. And then our homie Kenji, who's a Taiwanese photographer, he came too. So 3 people, everyone left after a full trip. We went back to China, the 3 of us, to get a couple things. He got all the tricks, just us 3. Insane. And it's like super special because like we went to Hong Kong, we were there for a couple of days. We were with friends there. We went to China. Like I said, 3 people. It's like, it's hard, man. It's hard to go to a spot where you went with like the big crew and it was like you had the photographer and the filmers, 2 angles, and now you're going back just the 2 of you. But how fucking crazy is that? Like he got the clips, and for me it's like, dude, Ben's gone. The company he wrote for that video was for is gone. The distribution is gone. All of that is no more. But that's still, something that's super special to me. You know what I mean?
Super special to a lot of people.
Yeah, to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, man. Like I think about Ben all the time. And that's like that line between like your favorite skater is actually my favorite skater. My favorite skater is Thiago, Rodrigo, Javi. I have so many favorite skaters. But to be honest, all those people are amazing people. Thiago is the best skater. He's actually the funniest motherfucker. It's more fun. It's amazing to watch him skate. I love watching him skate, but it's more fun to talk shit with Thiago than anything else. We can just laugh for hours. It's insane. You know, Aimu, what a great kid, you know, super, super humble, great kid, amazing skater, you know, so like the list goes on. And so like, that's what's really it. And so what we're trying to do as a videographer is, yes, you want to show the best skating and those tricks, but you also are trying to kind of encapsulate and show how cool these dudes are and how rad they are. You know what I mean? And they're all standing on top of other people. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, Kento loves Deeds. You know, Deeds is another one of my favorite skaters, you know, a magician, you know what I mean? And the best dude, you know? So because there's a Deeds, there's a Kento, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because there's a Rodrigo, there's a Tiago, you know? It's cool, man, you know?
I really enjoyed, I forgot who it was for. Was it maybe a Skate Tales or something with Tiago that came out recently, and seeing like where he came from, his family. And then because I just see him in video parts, and then you watch something like that and you're like, shit, he's got all of that pride from his friends, from the city that he grew up in, that have been there for that whole, and it's like, that's their story, you know what I mean? That's what they'll remember as well. Yeah. I'm just seeing the video parts, and then you see, like, watching that, it was a very wholesome thing to see him just like chatting shit with all of his mates and still going home to his local park, and it's like, oh, it's just our mate Tiago. Yeah. He might be the best skater in the world, but he's just our mate Tiago. Yeah. That video was, I forgot.
Dude, that whole community doesn't stand up for somebody. That whole community doesn't show up for somebody. That whole community doesn't like co-sign that person just because like they did some good tricks. It's because of the person they are. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Tiago is the fucking best, you know? And it's fun, man. It's like, you as a filmer, you want to film with like the best. Yeah. Right. You know? And it goes both ways. Like I said, like sometimes like people pour all of their energy into skateboarding because they can't talk to people or they can't communicate, you know, correctly, or there's a lot of other things. So there are some amazing skateboarders that are not like the most personable people, you know what I mean? And can't really skate in front of people. I understand that too. There's both sides of it, you know what I mean? But when it's good, it's good, man. Yeah. You know?
I wanted to talk about when you were filming with Danny Wainwright back in the day. Okay. So that was around when you were doing the Europe contest circuit, I guess, and then stayed back into Bristol. And
so the way that actually really worked out is that Danny wrote for Powell. Yeah. And I worked for Powell for like a few months making this video, and we went to Slam City Jam. Yeah. Drove up from California, like, you know, SF to, you know, all the way north to Slam City, and Danny flew in to skate the contest, and I'd never met him. I'd actually seen him in magazines and stuff. I knew who he was, but I'd never met him. And then, dude, he was an amazing skater, like crazy pop, but crazy transition skills too, like street skater, like everything, you know, and a really cool dude. And we really clicked. And it's kind of like with everything else, like every video part starts with me seeing a skater and being like, wow, what an amazing skater. I would love to work on a part. I would love to do something, because that's kind of like has to be the genesis of it, right? I mean, it's rarely like, oh, I have to film a part with this guy. Like, you know, it's you have to choose and, you know, be excited enough about their skateboarding to want to get, because it's a long process, right? So he was in Slam City Jam. We skated. He went back to the UK, and I was like, fuck, dude, like we kept in touch, and I was like, I want to film something. And he's like, come to Bristol, stay at my house. So then I just told 411, I was like, hey, like there's a budget for me to go to these contests, whether it's like Dortmund and then, you know, Prague or whatever. I'll go like a month early. I'll go to Bristol. Then I think the first contest was Radlands, and then it was like the ones in the European continent. And so that's what I did. I went to Bristol, and didn't have a lot of money. Brought a bunch of boards and random shit with me to sell, and stayed at Danny's for a month, and stayed on his couch. Got a contact high every day. You know, I smoked tons of weed, and he was super productive, and we filmed that whole part in like a 2 or 3 week period, all around Bristol. Yeah. So like Bristol was amazing city for skating. You know, tons of stuff. Obviously, there's Lloyd's, but then there was like Little Lloyd's. There was tons of like different spots. There was a bunch of stuff, you know, in the outlying suburbs. We went to Bath. We went to Wales. We went to a bunch of places. we even went to Stroud.
Oh yeah,
we went to Stroud, his hometown. So
am I imagining this? But in the Mackie, you might remember this. In the Raggy video, does Wainwright skate the Bath vert ramp? I seem to remember seeing some footage of Wainwright skating the vert ramp.
I saw like he had a couple Raggy ads.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, bald head, skating out of a flyout.
Yeah,
and I think there was even he's actually a mini ramp.
He can do everything.
Big ramp. Like he can skate the fuck out of transition. Like really, really good. He's to me the top English skateboarders of all time.
Yeah.
Are Rowley, Penny, and Danny. After that, for me, it's like, there's like some other really special skaters, but I think those are the three that made it out of the UK and made their mark. You know what I mean? I think you can't really fuck with those guys. Those are like the most amazing.
What was it like going to Stroud with Danny Wainwright?
It was cool. We filmed the line. It was a small town.
Yeah.
I think we went there and we filmed. I vividly remember there was something like that we filmed. He did like maybe a kickflip 5.0 on a metal bench, like something over a can, and then a big flip. But I mean, I couldn't tell you what exactly was in Stroud at that time. This is 1999, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was like a while ago.
That's when Danny was really...
Or 97, maybe. Or 98, yeah.
Yeah, around then. That's when he was really firing, wasn't he? Like, he had mad pop then.
Yeah.
I mean, he always has, but
yeah, he always has, yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking unreal. Stop right there, Ford. Tell everybody who is the show sponsor today.
Today's show sponsor is Slappy Trucks. Slappy Trucks was invented by Mike Sinclair. He had a little look at his trucks during lockdown and thought, I might just have a way to make these better.
Slappy provides the best grind clearance, confirmed by Professor Schmidt, the quickest turn, less wheel bite, and no break-in time at all.
They also have a huge selection of sizes, including the new 13-inch bad boys. Not only that, they've got Arista True and the one and only Curb Killer on the team.
I'm currently rocking the new ultra low inverted kingpin trucks, and they are super duper fantastic.
Would you say you're enjoying them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very, very low kingpins.
If you want to check out the wide range of Slappy trucks, make sure you head to www.rollersnakes.co.uk and see what we have in stock.
Slappy trucks, skateboarding just got easier.
Did you come up with that tagline yourself?
Yeah, just now. Back to the show.
Back to the show. Back to the show.
Back to the show.
Now.
I have to have the final one. Back to the show.
Back to the show now.
Give me my money, Chico.
All right, let's go.
That, like, I want to know the lead ups that getting involved with it, filming it, and fucking how good, how much of a sweet human Adelmo Jr. is. Like, I met him in Spain. He had all his dreads cut off because of the whole tax thing with his dad in prison. Yeah. And I can remember saying, I'm like, oh, sorry about that. You know, the dreads were like amazing. And he was like, dread. He said to me like, dread. I'm not going to try and do his accent. I'd be killed. But he said to me like, dreads and rasta is always in his heart or something like that. And he was just super kind, just such a nice guy. And that part with the Midnight song as well. Mm-hmm. I always go back to that part and like his Organica part as well.
Well, so that was, I've been filming for a long time, and that was the first video that I made. So everything else I've just been filming. Somebody else edited it. It was just like 4-in-1, like going somewhere, filming, sending the tapes back. And that was actually the first project where like, okay, I'm going to make a video. And it's like, I knew a lot of those guys who skated for LRG. The previous team manager put me on a trip, and we did a trip and did like a little video, like a little tour video. And it was cool. It was a lot of hands a lot of cooks in the kitchen that didn't really skate. It was LRG, it was like a little bit of a weird experience. And then that team manager left, and they had a new team manager. His name's Tyrone Romero. And Ty was the new team manager for LRG. And I just did this Chico Brenes 4-in-1 issue. Mm-hmm. And we did a little premiere of the video like at Chico's house, and Ty was there and a couple other people just to this is just to watch it,
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, it's like I want to talk to you. I want to make a video. Like, we want to make a full-length LRG video. And I was like, wow, man, good luck with that. You know what I mean? Like, it was a nightmare doing like a little one-trip tour video. you know, and he was like, yeah, I mean, and he's like, no, man, like, he's like, I want to do this video. I want you to do the video. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, well, who, like, I mean, I was kind of like, dude, I love all these dudes. I was like, Jack Curtin, it's like my good homie, you know, like Adelmo, you know, so many people like on the team, like Rob G, like a lot of guys that I filmed with a lot that were like really good. Chico, you know what I mean? Like, you know, one of my favorite skaters, all these guys. And basically, you know, there's all these guys on the team that I loved, but I was kind of like, wow, man, that's kind of a big thing and a big project. And then he's like, hey, yeah, but so we're going to put on TX. And I was like, okay. So shit, that kind of changed a lot. If TX was going to get on, and that's like, you know, Rodrigo's like my little brother. And I was like, okay, fuck, dude. Like, then I was like, let's do it. If he's going to get on, I'll do it, you know? So that's kind of how it started. It started out with a trip. We went to New Zealand and Australia, and it wasn't really that long. Maybe it was like maybe a little bit over a year to do a video. And it was like even though I've been filming a long time, it was my first like, you know, video where it's like, okay, conceptually or whatever, we don't even think in those terms, like conceptually, right? Like now you could say that, but at the time it was like, shit, dude, how is this video gonna go? You know what I mean? LRG is a clothing company. You know, a lot of people were like, is it gonna be like a music video? Like, gonna have some rappers in there, you know? And I was like, no, we're gonna try to. I just want to make Mouse 2, basically. You know what I mean? So that's what I was trying to do. And each of those guys are, dude, favorite skaters. Like I said, like Rob G, Adelmo, dude, Kelly Hart, Chico, you know, Rodrigo, like all of those guys, you know, were like, you know, some of my favorite skaters and some of my favorite people. So I actually. The crazy thing is, so I filmed this video and I really wasn't an editor yet. You know, I didn't have like that confidence. I didn't feel like I could really do it. And I knew I needed to do it with somebody. And my first choice was McGee. Crazy. But I talked to him. I was like, he's like, yeah, man. Okay. Like we can do it. Like get everything on a hard drive, you know, come to London for like, you know, 10 days. We'll knock it out. Like you stay at mine and we just do it, you know, like, and I was like, yes, cool. You know, like this is it. Right. Whatever. And I floated the idea to Tyrone. And like, strangely enough, like, you know, years later, Tyrone is at New Balance, you know, and it's funny because like, Mackie and Baines and I, you know, I used to work with at New Balance too, and all those things. So it's like, it's so funny to think about this, but like, so I was like, yeah, I want to go to England. I want to go to London. I want to edit with McGee. And he was like, no. Basically, he's like, that's so far. That's kind of crazy, like whatever. So I was like, okay. And so the second choice, and I don't want to sound like this is a second choice, but like another option, somebody I knew really well, I really trusted, also like a little brother to me, was Kyle Camarillo.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hit up Kyle, and Kyle's in SF, and I'm like, what do you think, dude? I have this project, you know, like I want to bring in someone to edit. And he was a little bit on the fence because he was like, the same thing. He was like, what do you mean, like LRG? It's kind of crazy. Like, you know, like, what is it like? And I was like, no, it's a full video, like full parts, like all these guys, like, let's do it. I mean, I have everything. I just need someone to help edit it with me. Right. So then I did it with Kyle. I did it in SF. And, you know, the whole thing about it, if you watch the video, it's Frank Gerwer being Adelmo. And the whole thing is about Chico's always betting.
His dreads on his head.
Yeah, so like Chico's always betting against the guys on the team. You know, where it'd be like $20 on this one, next try. It would be like $50, you don't got it. You know, so Chico would be like actively betting against people. And it was this one thing where Kelly was trying to backside flip this gap in China. And Carl Watson was like, you got it, you know, like you got it. And Chico was like, you don't got it, you know. But then you know, he did it, you know what I mean? And he got the backside flip. And Carl was like, give me my money, Chico. You know, so that was it. And I was like, to me, it was like, okay, let's do this. Like, that's like the perfect thing. It's like, it brings all the team together. It's Chico being exactly who he is, like talking shit, and it's all these guys like Kelly being who he is, like trying to do the trick. It was perfect. And then it's always been like Frank and Adelmo look like they could be brothers. You know, like everyone, like Lance actually probably said that first. Lance was like, yo, you guys could be like brothers. And you know, it was like kind of a running joke. So I was like, okay, fuck. So Frank is my good homie, you know, like also like my fucking brother. So we're in Brazil. I'm with Adelmo and Rodrigo in Brazil, where I'm like, okay, cool. We're at the point where the video is almost done. I think we're good with parts, and this is what I want to do for the skit. And I call Frank, and I was like, yo, I'm in Brazil. I call Frank, and I'm like, I have a big favor. He's like, whatever it is, I got you. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is. And I was like, well, I need you to start growing your hair. You can't cut your hair, and we'll film something in like a couple months. He's like, okay. And I was like, but you want to know what it is? He's like, no, it's cool. It's cool. Whatever. I won't cut my hair. And so it was like this whole thing. And then I'm like, okay. And I didn't tell anybody. Like Adelmo had to know, obviously. And Rodrigo kind of knew. He knew because we were like, whatever. And but I didn't tell Tyrone. I didn't tell anyone at LRG. I didn't tell Kelly. I didn't tell anyone. And we did these interviews where it's like, Chico was talking about the video and like, whatever. And then Chico also didn't want the video to be called "Give Me My Money Chico." He's like, it's kind of crazy. Like, like why, like kind of like uncomfortable with that. And I was like, no, it's good. Like, it's rad. You know what I mean? It's catchy. It's like all the good things about it, and no one's going to be thinking like you got a big head and like we're calling the video after you, it's like, it's not like that, And so this whole thing, and this is my first project, like from beginning to end. So it's like really important for me. And like I said, I wanted to make something that was like, not like Mouse, like a good video like that, but like something that was kind of fun. If there's skits in it, like to have like a lighthearted and like a positive thing about it, and then bring, people's personalities out. You know what I mean? And yeah, so that was really it. I didn't really tell anyone. Nobody really knew. And it was like, it hinges on what you're talking about. Adelmo is the best guy. So where a lot of people might be like, hey, I don't know, is that going to make me look weird? Is it going to make me look bad? Like, I don't know. He was like, I'm down. I'm 100% down. Frank too. You know what I mean? Frank didn't ride for LRG. He was just it was like, he was my friend. And I was like, can you do this for me? He's like, yeah. And Adelmo was like, okay, you have this idea. Let's do it. That's it. Like, so that to me is really what it is. It's like, it all happened because of how amazing, Adelmo was as a person. Crazy story. It all hinged on like, Adelmo doesn't really do backside flips. He does a lot of tricks. So the things like, okay, we'll go to like, we'll go to SF, and just naturally I'll be like, we'll go to the library. And I was filming Chico, and I was like, Chico, people are like, oh, I want to do this. Chico did front big heel, right? Over it. And then Adelmo was like, hey, Chico, what do you think if I backside flip? And Chico didn't know anything. He was like, he didn't know it was a skate or whatever. He's like, you can't do that. You're crazy, And he's like, and then I got him to like, like, well, what if he did it? What would you give him? And he'd be like, what if he like, cut his dreads? Would you give him $500? It was like all like, Chico did not know that it was a skit. Well, it was all completely natural, and then the security guard came up, like at that moment, like, serendipitously, like it was crazy. And then like, so he couldn't try it. Right. And then we'd be like, oh, we're going to come back. And she was like, yeah, you come back. Can't do it. So that was the whole setup, for the first thing. And then this is a crazy one. We go to the library like a week later. And it was me, Brian Ueda, who's a photographer, a good friend of mine. He was living in New York. He came to SF. Cairo Foster, Peter Remendetta, Frank, and I. And we all went to the library to check it out. And it was like 8 or 9 p.m. And we were like, oh, we'll come back at 11, but we're going to go check it out just to whatever, peep it. So we go there. Frank has his dog. Peter Remendetta has his dog. The dogs don't get along. So Pete walks. He like goes, I'm going to walk him. Like he leaves. So it's Brian Ueda, me, Cairo, and Frank. And we're kind of looking at the gap, and we're kind of like, we're at the library. And it's like 8 p.m. It's almost dusk. It's still light out. And these 3 kids come up, and they come up and look at us, kind of like, I'm just like, that's kind of weird. And they leave, and they come back. And the 3 kids, and they're like 17, not even that old. And they're like, oh, that's a cool dog, man. What kind of dog is that? And then Frank's like, oh, it's a Jack Russell. And he's, oh, that's a gun. And one of the kids had a hoodie over his arms and had a gun at Frank's ribs. And the other kid was like, hey, he's like, yeah, sorry, man, but phones and wallets on the floor now. Everything in your pockets on the floor now. And then Cairo was like, whoa, and he picked up his board, And then he looked over and he's like, oh, it's a gun. And like, you know, it was like so weird. And it was like fucking crazy. And so like I picked up my wallet, threw it on the ground. Brian did too. You know, I don't think, maybe I even threw my phone, whatever, but no, it was crazy. Like I had a watch, like a really nice watch. And I remember like I took out my phone, I threw it on the ground, and like my watch came out. And I was like, fuck. But they didn't see anything or say anything. And the watch is worth way more than the iPhone. But it was super, super crazy. And then, you know, it happened really quick. And like the kid with the gun didn't really say anything. And his friends were like, they grabbed the stuff and they're like, sorry, man, sorry. Like, and then Frank was like, you know, or maybe Brian was like, hey, can I keep my ID? He's like, yeah, keep it. He's like, but it's in my wallet. He's like, oh man, sorry, too late, man. Like, and then they're like, okay, turn around and start walking, but we're watching you, so don't look back, just keep walking. And then they dipped, and we're all kind of like, damn, that's fucking crazy. But I had my camera bag with my camera and my laptop in it, you know. And so I kind of felt like, oh fuck it, man. I had like $35 in my wallet, whatever, you know, iPhone. I mean, it wasn't like brand new or anything. You know, Frank had like a flip phone, right? You know, and like, yeah, so we like fucking just got robbed. We got popped at the library. It wasn't even 9 o'clock yet. And I was like, fuck, dude, Frank was so bummed. Like he was super, super bummed. I was kind of like, fuck, could have been worse. Right. And then Cairo and Brian were like, fuck, this is crazy. And Brian was tripping because he just flew from New York and his ID was in his wallet. So he was like, how do I fly back to New York? I have no ID. He ended up having to get his passport, his girl, like, you know, send his passport so he could fly back. It was super shitty. So like we were kind of like, okay, well, fuck, that's cool. Like, you know, like fuck, you know. So I'm like, me and Frank kind of like walk one way, and then Brian and Cairo like go the other way, and we were just like, fuck. And then this cop car shows up, and they're like, hey, you guys just got robbed. And I look over, and Brian and Cairo were in the car. So they had just seen some cops, and like, you know, like whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, we're gonna go look around. You guys go to that Carl's Jr. and we'll be back. If you see those kids, call 911. Call 911. And I'm like, I would call 911, but they stole our phones. And the cop's like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, just wait for us. So then we went to this Carl's Jr. like a block away, and we're like there. We're all like, you know, like nothing's gonna happen. Like they ain't gonna find shit. And then the cops came back and like, yeah, we didn't find anyone. And so that was it. So it was like super, super shitty situation. And Frank now didn't have a phone, but we still had to film the skit. So then I was like, fuck, dude, like, and he was super bummed. So then I was like, wow, this whole thing hinges on Frank doing this. When Adelmo's going to come up in a couple of days, you know, like, or a week later or something. And then it was like super shitty because then I had to like kind of like keep calling him. I had to call like Frank's girl to talk to Frank and be like, is it still cool? He'd be like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. But like you could tell he was like waiting for like, yeah, whatever, to like, oh fuck, you know. And then like it ended up being fine. We did it, like went to his house, he was cool, you know what I mean? And he fucking backside flipped the gap, filmed it in a thing when it was like Frank, and it's like looks like he had no hair, and he's like shaved his head and did the trick, and he's like, Me My Money Chico. And yeah, and that was it. And the rad thing is that it was complete, like no one knew. Like I said, like Rodrigo knew, Ty kind of figured it out, but it was never like, I'm like, we're doing this thing. I was just like, yeah, we're doing this thing. I even like, I sent all the parts to LRG when we were done. And so there was 2 owners and they watched it, but they never watched the intro. They just watched the parts. And you know, it was kind of like, now looking back at it, it's fucking nuts. Like you can't do that. You can't do a project for New Balance and not show like Seb and Ty. Could you imagine? Like that's insane. You know what I mean? Like, oh, wait till the premiere, you can see it. Like that's fucked. But we did it, and it was like super special, and it was like everybody in the premiere like didn't know what was going on. They were like, it was insane. You know, it's like Frank as Adelmo with dreads on his head. You know what I mean? And like Kelly and being like, I don't think Adelmo would ever cut his dreads. No, you know, like they mean a lot to him. You know what I mean? Like being really genuine. And Chico being like, he can't backside flip that. Like literally, like, you know, when you have your friend, like there's a certain trick they can't do. They're like, he can't do that. You know, like honestly, like, you know? So the whole thing like happened. And the rad thing is that like during the process of it, editing it with Kyle, 90% of the time it'd be like your video. Yeah, your video's looking good. Or like, okay, yeah, this is your video, whatever. But then if it was really good, it'd be like our video. You know what I mean? So then at the end I was like, so is it my video or is it our video? And he's like, oh, well, he's like, I don't know if people like it. It's our video, you know? But because of that, it's crazy. Like then Kyle started working for LRG and doing a lot of stuff. And then Ty came over to New Balance and then Kyle came over to New Balance. So it's like, you know, the circle is still pretty tight.
The connection.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's funny. But yeah, like I said, I mean, Adelmo is an amazing skater. Like a really good homie. What a genuine dude. And then also, you know, we talked about like the trust that somebody has to have when you're making a part, right? Because it's like you're working so hard with skating, and it's like I wanted to find a song that he really wanted to skate to, and I wanted to show him as a skateboarder, and then I wanted to do the skit and not have it reflect badly on him. You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of things.
That part's just. It's sick. The song as well, that Haile Selassie Rastaman crown, like that song. There's a split section in that part where it's like he's like looking at some mountains or something, and he turns around in slow mo. Then there's a full straight slow mo nollie over a bump to bar, and his dreads. That's my favorite 3 seconds in that video. He's just like that bit where he's looking at the mountains and turning around, and then he just nollies.
Well, so that mountain, that was the Cristo in Rio, like, you know, the Christ statue.
Yeah.
And we went up there at like 6 a.m. right when they opened because he wanted to nollie it. And we went up there for that to get like a nollie down the stairs. The stairs are insane. And so it's like, you know, we went up there and I think we got blanked. We couldn't skate it or whatever. So I was like, I ended up filming some lifestyle stuff, but there was like some epic moments because it was like 6 or 7 a.m. and with the light and everything. And
that shot's just, it's such a beautiful shot like that. Yeah. It's my favorite. It's not, forget the nollie, but just that bit where he's there. It's just like a powerful shot. You know what I mean? With the song as well. The song's like a real, like, deep,
emotional, like
reggae song where it's like his vocals like so heavy. Cracking video. Round of applause for that LRG video. I absolutely love it.
But it's crazy. So there's this kid Jasper from Thailand who skates for NB2, and that was his first video. So this is a kid like I've filmed with a lot, filmed video parts with, like, you know, like traveled a lot with, like, and that was his first video because it was a free video, like in the skateboard mag.
I was about to say, I'm sure
it
was a slip case.
It was a DVD
as well.
Yeah. And he never knew that wasn't Adelmo. He thought that Frank was Adelmo, that was actually Adelmo. Like the whole thing, you know, because it's, to me, it's like insane. Like one dude from New York, from Long Island, another guy from Brazil, you know what I mean? They might look slightly the same, but they're not the same dude. And like there's dreads, you know, like Adelmo had to be like lying on his back, like on a ledge above Frank with the dreads, just like, you know, it was like the biggest joke. You know, but there's kids that like believed it. You know,
and
what I mean?
that first shot as well, where it's straight down on him, and his hair goes. It's almost like the Stacy Peralta kind of. Yeah. And then his name comes up in red, like. But that's spot on. But
that's all like, I mean, you know, like, so that's all things that I was influenced by that I wanted to do, and so I never like. I'm a videographer, like straight videographer. That was the first video. Like LRG bought an HPX. And that was the first video that I was like able to use a camera that could film 24p, that could, you know, like you could have like a film look, you know what I mean? And it could film in slow motion. And then for me, like that was like, it was a no brainer, like the hair and everything, you know, as a bald dude, like that's something special, right? You know? And so it's like, there's like that, but it was also like, I was learning, you know, I knew the, like, oh, this is how you shoot film, and it, the film look 24p, and it should be this frame rate or whatever. But it's super funny because I didn't really understand, or I couldn't really shoot really wide open, you know, like really shallow depth of field, because I'd have to have filters and everything, and usually you're skating and like there's filters you could put on, you know, HPX, but they don't really, it's not that good. So I was filming like, you know, pretty like, higher f-stops, let's say. And then somebody another videographer years later was like, I really like that video. It's so sick because it's like, you know, super gimmicky, shallow depth of field, but like you filmed everything in focus. It was like, it's really cool that you chose to do that, and like, for that look or whatever. And I was just thinking like, no, I just didn't know, you know what I mean? I didn't have the right tools because I would have filmed everything at 1.8 or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but I couldn't.
It gave you that unique look.
Yeah, so
there's some amazing standout stuff in, and I keep going on about Adelmo. I just love the guy; he's great. But when he does the, I think he like ollies in, then switch inward heels off the loading bay kind, and you just like dread is on the floor.
On the ground, dude. Yeah,
insane. Did any ever whip you in the face when you were filming? Like,
yeah. There's two things. There's that,
because they're like past his knees in that video.
There's that clip, and there's another line where it's like in China, there's like these
with a front shove it off the wooden.
Yeah, no. So that's in New York, but there's another one in China, like a marble like whoop-de-doo kind of thing.
Yeah,
he does a trick there, and I think in that he definitely one of the dreads definitely hit me, and then he might have even on one of the slams he actually rode over his dreads and slammed. Yeah,
no way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Fucking what a dude. That's a great video.
We mentioned about Carl Shipman earlier. Can you give us your insight when you met with him,
dude? Carl,
years ago.
So if you say like the pantheon of like the greatest British skaters, is Wainwright, Rowley, Penny. Then in the second tier for me is Shipman is one of them. You know what I mean? For me, Shipman, H. There's other skateboarders that like maybe didn't make it to the top, but were like amazing. And Shipman made it to the top. He was DC. Like he had the big sponsors. It stands out to me because in my zine that me and my friend did, I did an interview with Chris Pastris. So Chris is from New Jersey. It's pretty local and also like a huge influence. Like, one of those guys that came out of the scene, amazing skateboarder, skated for World, did stereo, like, crazy, like, Chris, insane, right? Did a lot, came out of Jersey and went, one of the guys came out of Jersey and went the farthest. And did an interview for my zine with Chris. And at that time, Shipman just went over to stereo. And then, I was like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, you guys have Carl Shipman? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, we were at the contest and he was ripping. He's like so crazy in Europe. And like, he didn't really ride for anyone. I was like, yeah, he rode for Flip, and he's like, yeah, but you know what? Like, it's like, that's nothing. That's like a nothing company, whatever. And I remember being like, oh, okay, crazy. But like, they were a powerhouse, but this is right before they went to the US. And so that was like one of the things. And then he went to stereo. And I think, like, not that that was a bad decision at all. Stereo was actually the company at the time. They were like the number one, and that probably did a lot for him at DC and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's really funny because when in retrospect, Flip was like what is that, whatever. And then they also became the biggest company in skateboarding. You know what I mean? And yeah, like so Carl would come to SF a little bit, and then one time, I don't even know if I could tell these stories, but one time he came over and
we can bleep it out if it's
and there was an English crew that came and I skated with, and some of the guys I'm still friends with, but like I think it was Shire was there, Ewan Bowman, it was Ches was there. Who did Through the Eyes of Ruby, sumo video, and we were all skating together and everything, and then Shipman came, and he was kind of like a separate. He wasn't with those guys at all, but he was there in SF, and he was doing some stereo stuff. We had to do some DC stuff, but I don't think he skated one time at all. And then but we would skate, and then like something would happen, and like and he'd be like, yeah, Ches would be like, fuck man, I have to lend 100 pounds to Shipman, like kind of like, and he'd be like, I don't know if I'm going to get it back, or I can't really afford it or whatever. And I don't know if I can even tell these. These are bad stories.
Yeah. When we had him on the show, his brutal honesty was great.
Yeah.
I think he's always been like that.
I love Carl Shipman skating.
Yeah.
Dude, like lines at the Shell Center, right? Like vividly, there's things like obviously that famous tray flip on the fucking the bank that's like propped up. It's like crazy. Yeah, there's so many crazy sick style. What a good skateboarder.
Yeah, absolute legend.
Yeah, but you should get Ches on the show, and he'll probably
I'd love
Neil Chester, and he'll probably tell you some other stories. Yeah,
I'll drop him a message. What's next for you? Obviously, you've been traveling for 20 years. You're filming multiple projects.
30 years.
That's 30 years, yeah. What's that's kind of the sign-off question. What's next?
I mean, like I said, I'm working on a lot of video parts. I'm still like, I mean, the process is like you see somebody, an amazing skater, and you're like, fuck, I want to film a part with that person, or like, dude, that they're so rad. I want to, film with them. Maybe even not even a part, maybe just to film with them.
Yeah.
So there's there's nonstop of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a unique position. I'm really lucky that there's still people in skateboarding that believe in me that I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what next is, trying to film as much as I can and work on some stuff and film some amazing skateboarders. And I have to do, just like everyone else in skateboarding, like I wear a few different hats and have to do a couple of different things to do that. And those video parts are the ones that are most intense and have, require the most work and give the least monetary payback, but they're the most satisfying.
Yeah,
and they're also,
100%.
I feel like, the one thing that, like, in skateboarding that's as close to permanent as anything else, as anything, right? So you can win a contest, you can have an Instagram post with 1 million likes, you can get the cover of a magazine, you can do a lot of different things, but a video part is the closest thing to having something forever. You know what I mean? Like, Keenan Milton was somebody who I looked up to as a kid, from New York, super proud. The best skaters from New York when I grew up were Huff and Keenan. Both of those guys are not here anymore. Both amazing people, but both left legacies and both have like amazing video parts that are still here. You know what I mean? And it's, Keenan still continues to inspire. There's no Tiago without Keenan, right? And so, yeah, if I can help be a part of making a video part, of giving people or having people have something like that, then I think that's like super, super rad.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, maybe it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, but it's something that's like uniquely theirs. And we put a lot of work into it. Like videographers are like, whatever. But the reality is 99%, if there's a good video part, it's that guy. It's the skating. That's what speaks to you. That's what you see. You know what I mean? So, fuck it, dude. I'm a lot older than a lot of people. I've been doing this for a long time. Hopefully I'll make it to, get run over with a bus, we're like filming a line, and then, go out like that, fuck it.
Hopefully not.
Well, I think I can speak for all of us when we say we're incredibly stoked to have you on.
Yeah.
On the podcast, and thank you for all the filming and everything you've filmed. And I think that's probably a nice way to wrap it up. We've been going for about 3 or 4 hours, so
let's wrap it up.
Thanks
for coming, dude.
Let's get your camera out. We're going to go film some stuff outside.
Thank you guys.
Can I get a massive round of applause in the studio, please? Mr. Anthony Claravall here. That was an amazing episode. Thank you very much. Let's go film some skateboarding.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. First try.
What, with me?
Yeah.
Never going to happen. I've not landed a trick in 10 years.
He's not even joking.